Right, I think I'm live. Yes. It's been a long time since I've done this on YouTube. I hope this is coming across right. I hope I'm not jerky. It looks a bit jerky on this, this when I can see myself. Might not be though. I don't know if I can put these on the screen. I don't think you can. The comments, because it's not like StreamYard. You can't do the same thing as StreamYard. So no, you can't. But I can add moderators on here. Wow, didn't know that one. I used to do this quite a lot in the mornings, every now and again. I haven't done one for about a year, actually, when I think about it. So I'll answer the questions here that I can see. And if I have trouble seeing them, I will have to put my glasses on. So I hope you can hear us on the microphone. I'm using this one now. See if that's better, so I'm not tapping on the screen. So Cheekster777 says, "Good morning, John. How are you?" I'm all right, actually. Not too bad. I've had a couple of good nights' sleep. Not to go on about too much. Had a busy couple of weeks at work, so that's why it's been a bit difficult to sort of make make videos and stuff like that. But it's nice to get a little bit of like a break from work, so you can get yourself back to normal, just to catch up on your sleep. But anyway, so Bad Lieutenant says, "What's up?" I'm not doing that right, but I know what you mean. Yes, good, doing well. It's good to get a live stream going like one-on-one from every time to time, because I think that when you do that, you can actually talk to people. Hopefully I'll get through all of these messages and I won't need to sort of skip any, and it would be nice to talk to people like one-to-one and that. So it's a bit of a break from the norm. That's the way I'm looking at it. Forgotten World of Movies, Andy says, "Hey John, hope you are well. Hope you are doing well, my friend." Yes, I'm doing well, actually. Not bad at all. It's nice to do a bit of a different stream on here. The live streams, I love doing the shared live streams. I think they're absolutely brilliant. I love watching them as well. I think every now and again, when you've got this YouTube thing you can do on YouTube, you can go on the YouTube live. I think it's a nice way to sort of just get back to basics sometimes, and just have a bit chat with people, and thank people for things when you do it on messages on a video. But I think sometimes when you can actually speak to people one-to-one, I think that's it's quite good. So Blue American 840 says, "Good morning." Good morning, Blue American 840. Daniel Duke says, Hi from Strood in Kent. Love all your videos and keep up the good work." Well, thanks very much. It's great to know that when you make videos that somebody's watching, anybody's watching really, and if anybody gives you positive feedback on that, that's absolutely brilliant. It makes it all worthwhile. It's a great thing to have to do this in general. I'm sure that every person who makes videos feels the same way. But it's nice when somebody acknowledges the fact that they enjoy your videos, and it's all good. I think I might put my glasses on. I might give them a try. If I'm getting a massive amount of glare, I'll drop them on the floor. Well, that was my case, actually. What's that look like? It's a bit glary, isn't it? I'll see how that goes. Just in case I'm sort of I'm doing this and I'm just blinding everyone, but you can't see my eyes. But I can see that. Tell you what, getting old, it's not much fun, I can't understand how it's going to be when I hit 40. So anyway, a couple of things. The live stream for the video nasties will be coming up next week, and I'm with talking with Nigel, and we're just deciding on what day it'll be. I'm thinking it's probably going to be about the Monday or the Tuesday of next week. It all depends around my shifts, actually. And Nigel's ready and waiting, and it's just a case of we've got all the stuff planned. We've got all the movies we're going to talk about. We know exactly where we're going on it. It's just a case of my shifts aligning. So I think Monday and Tuesday is probably the ones to look forward to if you want to watch the live stream of the video nasties next part. I think it's part 4. That'll be happening around about Monday or Tuesday. But I'll give you as much heads up as I can. I should be able to know that in the next couple of days, and then I can put out the thumbnail and whatnot, because me and Nigel really enjoy doing them. I think it's really touched people, that they find it interesting. They find it a thing that they can get involved with as well, because it's all great to have people are being involved with these things, and that's what it's all about. I'm finding out a lot of stuff that I didn't know about this video nasty, the whole video nasty thing, from comments and from just doing this in general. But it's one of the things that I love doing them live streams. I love doing me shared live streams as well. I used to just do one-on-one live streams with guests, which will still happen. Just pick my glasses case up, and what I'll do with them is I'll still do solo ones. I'll still do shared ones with one person from time to time. But I think at the minute I'm going to go and do maybe with 3 guests, and it's going to be the first time I've ever done 4 guests. But I'm setting a couple of them up, and that will mean that I'll be interested. It's funny, when you do a live stream, you're interested to see how other people act with other people. Some channels on here don't know each other. You would think that's mad. You think every channel would know every channel, and that's not the case. I mean, I know a lot of channels, but sometimes the first time you meet a channel is when you're on a stream with them, and you don't really know them until you get on there, which I think is great. But I think that in general, I think these streams are a great something you can do with your channel as well. I urge anybody who's thinking about doing a stream to get on and do a stream. Just either do it yourself or find somebody who can do it with you. Do it on StreamYard, which is so easy to use, and it's a great. And once you start, and it's always nerve-wracking doing your first live stream on StreamYard. I was absolutely petrified. But once you've done a couple, it's no bother. And when you get a good guest on or good guests on, makes it all the better. So, and then before you know it, you've done an 8-hour live stream, and you don't know whether you're coming or going the next day. But yeah, so live streams, they're great. So, Bad Lieutenant says, looking forward to the new Video Nasties webcast. They've been quality. Well done to you and Nige. Well, thanks, Bad Lieutenant. Also, the fact is that when me and Nige started doing them, we didn't know how they'd be received. We didn't know if anyone would be. We always knew we were going to keep on going with them. We didn't know how anybody would react to it. We would have thought that maybe people were ambivalent to it. Maybe it wouldn't connect with anybody, but would still enjoy it, and we will get a blast out of it. But the way it's took off has been excellent, and we're so grateful for people to take the time out to sort of to watch the videos. And the main thing, what I'm trying to do is, as a person who's going through the comments, and don't forget, I'm quite new to this game. It's hard to keep up with them. It's hard to put them in trying to get everybody on the screen, how to get everybody interacted with, and it's a bit of a learning process for me. So you got to bear with us that you probably it's a bit of a lottery sometimes towards the end of the stream whether or not it'll get read out or not. It's not through choice. It's just through the fact that these streams, we don't want them to go on too long. I think 3 to 4 hours is a great length of time to have a live stream for, and on one topic anyway. And so I think what we're going to do as well, I've been talking to Nige about this, we're going to do part 4 and part 5, and that'll finish off section 1 for the Video Nasties. And then I think what we'll do after that is me and Nige will do like a separate live stream. We'll do a sort of a break live stream about anything. We'll just do one of them, and then we'll continue with the Video Nasties. Rather than just doing the Video Nasties completely, we'll have a one in the middle, and then we'll go on to section 2. That's the plan anyway. We'll always talk about these plans, and but I think that's what we're going to do, because it's nice. It'd be nice to hear what Nigel's got to think about, like other videos as well and other movies, because you've got a wide range of likes, as most collectors do, and most people who like watching movies do. So Magpie Movies, Jody Paul says, "Morning, John." Morning, Jody Paul. How are you doing? I wonder if you're. I tell you what's freezing up here. I'm sitting here. I've got my big coat on. This is the back room, the dining room. And it's always freezing compared to the other room, which gets all the sun. So this is why I'm getting a bit wrapped up. So I hope the weather's all right where you are. I can't imagine that it's going to be. I don't think the country's in a heat wave again, which it was good while it lasted, wasn't it? Cheekster777 says, "Have you hung on to every item of physical media that you've ever purchased?" No way, shape, or form. I couldn't. The things I've purchased over the years, it's frightening to imagine how much I've bought over the years. Especially, I think the one I've spent The one I spent the most money on, unbelievably, is VHS, without a shadow of a doubt, because I had much more VHS back in the day. And don't forget, these video nasties were so hard to get. And I was getting copies of them, 5th generation copies of the likes of Zombie Flesh Eaters and The Beyond and all this type of stuff, Faces of Death. And they were costing, you know, it could be up to 20, 30 pounds each to get one of those, just on a copy. So when you look back on it, I spent a massive amount of money on VHS and ones that you got from the shops as well. I had a huge collection, which I sold to actually a bloke who has got, I don't know if Jody Paul knows this, there's a shop in Whitley Bay. I don't know if it's still there, but it sold it sold records, and it also sold videos. And it's got 2 shops next to each other. And I used to go in there and get CDs and stuff like that. It's got loads of vinyl in there, so it's probably still there. And this fella, I had a word with this fella, and he came up and he all the videos, all the video tapes I had, he bought the whole lot and had some good stuff. When I look back on it, I should have never got rid of them. Don't know where to put them though. So the short answer, Chickster, is no, not at all. I would like to, but I think I would have to live in a mansion, and I think there would be about 10,000. I think every wall would have a shelf on it, which I don't think would be, the Debs wouldn't be too pleased about that, and I would agree with her. So, but I think funny enough, I've got the most I've hung on to is definitely 4Ks. I think every 4K I've got, I've kept, and I'm going to try and go down that route. I'm very picky. You may not think I'm very picky with my 4Ks. You may think I just buy everything, but I don't. And the things I want to get are the things I'm really interested in. There may be a few that I've got cheap that I might think is not that good, but if I've got them cheap, it doesn't matter that they're there. If I paid something like £40 for something I thought was garbage, that would be a bit. That's what I'm trying not trying to do. So yeah, so great question, and I do think that it's one of those things where you think I would love to. Well, actually, I've got this thing here, as you know, this book. This has got a list of probably everything I owned at this point in about 1996. It doesn't tell us what I got rid of before this, but it'll give you a bit of an idea as to what I sort of had back in the day. And there's a lot of stuff in there that I've not got at all. There's a lot of movies in there that I don't really, not saying I don't like anymore. It's just that I don't really watch. Sometimes I used to watch a certain type of genre, and I don't even go anywhere near that genre anymore. It's quite funny, isn't it? Good question, though. So the Axeman Mike, good morning, John. Hope you're doing well. Yes, I'm doing very well, actually. I can actually see. I hope my microphone's all right, and I hope my eyes aren't putting you off, you know, with this whole glasses thing. I'm very mindful of the fact that if you got glasses on, that can sort of obliterate your eyes, and people will think, well, who am I looking at? Am I looking at you? But I think that actually it's funny here. I'm just looking on this chat here, because don't forget, this is my YouTube chat. It's not the StreamYard chat, and I don't have any moderators on here, but I can see that Bumpers Movies there is a moderator. So maybe that's from another stream that's transferred over on, maybe possibly from a StreamYard. I'm not too sure. Just quite interesting to see that. But this stream would be great, because this on YouTube, which is something you should be able to do on StreamYard, you can set this just to allow people who subscribe to you to chat to you. Now that should be a great way of keeping down like bots and these sort of like trolls and all that, you know. So I shouldn't get any of them stupid questions, or, you know, and about cheese, or the sort of the things you say, please click on this link, like anybody would. But anyway, so yes, so doing well, Mike. Magpie Movies says it's a bit chilly down here in Darlow. Yeah, it's, to be honest, it's chilly up here, even though it's sunny. It's bright sunshine outside, but it's freezing. It's freezing in here. It's always freezing in this room. I thought about doing it upstairs next to the shelves, but the only problem with that is I'll have to sit on that sort of stool. And sitting on a stool for a couple of hours isn't in the best of things. I've got this really posh chair that my son used to have in his room, but he's got rid of it. Well, I'm saying he got rid of it. We got it back because we bought it for him. It was quite expensive, actually. And he's bought himself one of these massive gamer chairs, a Spider-Man gamer chair that you can't get in the room for. So that's good. Badu 10 says, where are the Blu-ray shelves in the back room? Well, If I could have Blu-ray shelves in the back room, there would be here, but of course, I'm that lucky to get the two upstairs that I do know for a fact there is no way on earth I could put any more anywhere else. I've got some in the garage with there for CDs, but yeah, I know. You know, it's a bit of a shame that you can't do anything you want in your own house, is it? Bumpers Movies says, "Morning, John. Brass knockers walking the dog this morning." Yeah, I can imagine this. That's a funny thing about. I love going out in the cold in the morning, but I love coming back into the warmth. But I like a good fresh walk. And with us, with living next to the coast, if you wanted to, you can get yourself down there. I tell you what's freezing on the coast, even when it's summer. Where's me ladders? Right. A few here, so just move that down a little bit. I don't think you lose your comments on here, but we'll see. Joe Borg, morning, John. Hope you're doing well. I thought I'd join in the chat, Joe. Yeah, well, thanks for coming across, Joe. As you know, Joe has just sent me the German version of Bonnie Scotland, Lauren Hardy, which that's quite funny, you know, when you put it on. And I know how these people talk. I'm talking about the co-stars, especially this woman who is she's a Scottish woman, and it was funny because the German person who was like taking off her voice had it sounded a little bit like her voice, but in German. It was dubbed. I thought that was quite fascinating, and it's nice to have anything about Lauren Hardy on any format. I do think Bonnie Scotland is the missing gem. I know you can get it, but I think it should be more embraced in the canon. If that doesn't sound a little bit too, you know, embraced in the canon. So Richard Morley says, "Good morning, John. Glad you enjoyed the Dog Soldiers 4K. It's my favorite release of the year so far." I've got to say, Richard, that release is unreal. It's one of those ones, and I've got to say that I definitely had it on DVD when I was younger, when it came out. I'm sure I did. Well, I did. I know I did because I recognize the cover. I reckon that I bought it, started to watch it and didn't like it because I think the quality was that bad. I just didn't get into it, but I can't remember anything of the movie, so I can't remember how much I watched of it. So I went into this basically watching it like a fresh movie, thinking, you know, it's a 4K of a 16mm print, and is it going to look that good? But obviously I've watched videos and everyone said it was really good. I tell you what, I had such a blast with that movie. That movie is one of the best movies I mean, the set's astounding, but the movie itself is a revelation. If anybody hasn't seen Dog Soldiers, and you're a fan of horror movies in general, or just in movies that are good, just check out Dog Soldiers. It's Second Sight have done a masterpiece on that one. I think it's one of their best ones, even though you could say there's better quality looking ones. As far as Dog Soldiers goes, it just looks absolutely amazing. So yeah, Richard, I'll agree. It's up there. If I do a release, you know, favorite releases of the year, you know, that'll definitely be in there. I'll not tell you where it is because obviously, if I do that, that's going to spoil it for you. Don't want to give any spoilers out. Bumper Movies says, "Remember those VHS covers you could buy and they made the videos to look like the books on the shelf?" Yes, I do. It was like a big plastic, like heavy clamshell, but you would get them in maybe green, blue, red, and they used to look like imitation leather, like a leather-bound book. You wouldn't have anything on the spine, and you would open it and have something like ridiculous, like "I Spit in Your Grave" on it, or "Last House on the Left." Yeah, I do, and I think if I'm right in thinking, although there's none of them left. I had green ones. I had 10 green ones, and I had 10 video nasties in it. And I mean, they were double things. "I Spit in Your Grave" with "Last House on the Left," "Zombie Flesh Eaters" with "The Beyond." They're all in this thing. And in my section in my book, wasn't this book, it was one book like it. I used to call it the Gore Store. And I had 20 videos in there, 20 films in there in the Gore Store, but they were all that green imitation leather stuff. Wow. Yes, I do. And I'll tell you what, when you used to go to somebody's house and they had them on the wall, it used to be like a sort of, people used to treat them as a bit like a feature to the room. Look at my imitation leather boxes. Wow. I'll tell you what, imagine if you give your kids one of those today, an imitation leather box for their PS5 games. Imagine what they do to you. They're probably not bray over the head with them. And that, you know, wow. Blu-ray Baz, morning John, big fan. Have you found 4K Blu-ray to be darker than the standard Blu-ray? Yes, I have. Now, it was funny. I've been watching a few things recently on 4K, and I've been watching a few things on Blu-ray just to compare them and stuff like that. Now, Baz, the funny thing is, I always used to like a brighter picture. And on Blu-rays, I do like a brighter picture. But for some reason, and I don't know why that is, when I'm watching a bright 4K, sometimes it starts to get a little bit noisy, the picture. It gets to be a bit, I don't know, it doesn't really seem to like that setting. I don't go vivid. Vivid just ruins everything. But if I go standard on some 4Ks, it doesn't look very good. It looks a bit messy. If I put it on to cinema or custom, which does make it darker, it looks much better. It takes all that other way on some of them. So I do think that the darker, I will agree with you on that one. But I do think that sometimes, always when I'm watching a movie and I've got it on standard usually, if it looks great on standard, I'll leave it there. If it doesn't, then I'll go to the darker settings. But in general, I will find that the darker settings are visible on a 4K on some of them. But if I'm honest, I can get away with it on a 4K. I don't like to see a dark Blu-ray for some reason. So interesting though. But I do agree with you on that one. Baz. Millerman, Paul, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Morning, John. How's it going today? It's going very well, actually. Happy to do this solo live stream. I think it's been. I was thinking about it the other week. I couldn't do it for work, but I thought, right, as soon as I get a bit time in the morning, I always like to do these in the morning for some reason. Don't know why. I like to do them. I just think they're quite fun, quite relaxed. Just a way to sort of just chew the fat and just talk about anything really. And I think that I'm interested. I mean, I said on this video when I did it, I didn't know you could actually like set the thumbnail up for this and like leave it, set it up as a forthcoming video, which I may do for the next one, whenever that's going to be. Could be months away. This one's nearly a year since the last one, since live stream 4. But I don't know what I'm saying there. But yes. How's it going today? It's going great, but I've lost my mind. Thanks, Paul. Pete, Playtendo guy. Morning, John. Hope you're well. I'm doing well, Pete. I hope you're well too. Great live stream on Playtendo guy's channel. I'm sure you all know about Pete's live stream. For me, it's the best live stream on YouTube. I think that it's so enjoyable and very relaxed. Great atmosphere on there. So if you don't know about it, every Wednesday on Playtendo guy's channel, get yourself over there and watch his live streams. You'll have a blast with them. And I would imagine everybody who's on here knows about Pete's live stream. But if you don't, check it out. Mark Stewart. Hiya, Mark. You all right? Hi, John. Hello, Mark. How are you doing? Bad Lieutenant says, sitting on a stool for a couple hours can ruin your ferox. Can't adjust. I tell you what, the amount of times I went past Deb and she said, what's the matter with you? I said, I've been upstairs in that stool. She says, how's your ferox? I said, don't even mention it. So yeah, it's actually funny enough. You know, when you're on these ridiculous things that come up on Instagram, when somebody says to you, that adds you, and you know where it's going to go. Hiya, I think you're great. How about you talking to me and all this type of gubbins? I'll say, I'll delete them instantly, but a first message I sent to them before getting anything, I'll say, I'm doing all right. Got a problem with me ferox though. You never get any replies to that. And then they go, delete. So there you go. Undead Sick 83. All right, mate. Good morning, John. I hope you are well. Yes, I'm doing really good. I'm glad I'm on time to catch your stream before I have to go to work. Well, I'm glad I'm not going to work. That's all I can say. But I'm really glad to speak to you on here. And I've got your CDs that you sent. They're just over there. No, they're just over there, actually. I've got them in the car, and I do enjoy them. Although I enjoy Anouk better. I think that's the more poppy element to that. The other one's a bit more country. I like a few songs on that. But Anouk, for me, is the one that stood out to me. So thanks very much for sending them over to me. Way back, and it seems a long time ago now, doesn't it? Joe Borg says, meant to ask you, have you heard of Gunwoman? Or is it, or got it in your collection at all, Joe? Nope, never heard of it actually. It's not a movie that, it might be a movie that if I saw the cover, I would say, oh yes, it's one of them, it's that one. But at this point, when I hear the title, I don't really think that I know that one, if I'm honest. Maybe you can tell us a little bit more about it, Joe. That'd be great. Cheekster says, have you transitioned from having a massive VHS, when you transitioned from having a massive VHS collection, did you go on to have an equally massive DVD collection before moving on to Blu-ray and most recently 4K HD Blu-ray? Yes, of course. Because they talk about this a lot on videos actually. On most videos, when VHS came out, it was great. And the fact that you could physically watch a movie anytime you wanted to was a revelation. That's why I used to go to cinema all the time. And as soon as I got a video cassette recorder, never went to cinema for years. Why would you? You could pick up your favorite movie and watch it. When I used to get it from the video shop, you used to watch it you stay up all night and watch it 3 or 4 times. It was ridiculous. Some of the movies I've gotten there, I've watched them 3 or 4 times in a day. And then when you get DVD, the fact that this DVD is much smaller, it's much better quality, and you can skip things, you can freeze frame, you can do all the things that couldn't. You had commentaries, you had what was the one where you could go to different or angles. Do anyone remember the angles on a DVD when you're watching a rock concert? You could watch the angle of the drummer for the whole concert, or you could watch the guitarist, or you could watch the singer. You could flick between them, or you could watch the way that was intended to be shown. That's amazing. I don't think that gets used at all now, which would, I think, be great. So yes, I did. I had a huge DVD collection. It was ridiculous. But then again, you get rid of your VHS, and say if I could go back in time, I would look through your VHS, and I would probably keep a good maybe 100 of them, 100 classics. And the same with DVD. I have got rid of a ton of DVD because I've upgraded them to Blu-ray. So why would they keep the DVD unless for special features? So what I've done is, the DVDs I've kept, I've kind of done that. I've looked at them and thought, right, will I really regret getting rid of this DVD? And if I think to myself I will, I'll keep it. So the ones I've kept, I've kind of done that. I didn't do that with VHS, which I regret. I don't regret getting rid of any DVDs because the ones I've got are great. And to be honest, the Blu-rays do kind of swap out quite a bit more, because I do find that out of all of them, your regular Blu-rays are the cheapest form of everything that's come out in forever. You can go and buy Blu-rays for next to nothing for your regular titles. I mean, they're just cheap as chips. I think they're the cheapest out of the whole lot, especially secondhand. So for me, I think I get rid of more Blu-rays than I do, the cheaper Blu-rays that you watch maybe a couple of times and you think, I'm not going to watch that again. Obviously, you've got to be always curating for your space, because if you run out of space and you've got like a ton of stuff that you would never watch again, you need to get rid of those, or you need to move them on as quickly as possible so you keep in that space, which I was just been doing a little bit of yesterday, actually. Alex Patterson. Hi, Alex. All right. Morning, John. That Blu-ray and vinyl combined shop you mentioned in Whitley Bay is still there. I picked up some vinyl there the other day. Has limited opening hours, mine. Wow. Now, I'm going to say to you, Alex, is it still owned by the bloke with the beard? The tall fellow, he had a beard. I'm sure he had a beard. He was a nice bloke, and used to live in Whitley Bay. Probably still does live in Whitley Bay. And I think his wife was in the shop next door. She's the one, she was sort of quiet, but she was good. And I used to go in there and take my CDs back and swap CDs and all that. It was... I used to find it good. I haven't been past for a long time. It's kind of, from where I live, it used to be right next door to where I used to live. I'm going to definitely do a video, because I've got a new phone, as you know, and I'm going to try and do some footage now, because that's got like see, this is my old phone, and it's full. The stuff in there is full. So this new one is going to be empty, so I can start like do these out and about things where I can show people where I talk about, these cinemas I go to. I talk about the video shops that used to be there, even though I can't find the video library tickets. I can show you where they used to be. I can show you where the cinema was from my old house. You literally could throw a stone into the cinema, and it's not a cinema anymore, but I can do little bits and bobs of that. So I will go past that shop, and I will do it. And I might, if the bloke's in there, I might say, hey, I'm giving you some free publicity. Can I have that limited edition Reservoir Dogs box set with the glasses back on VHS? Thanks. So Blu-ray Baz says, did you ever get any HD DVDs? No, didn't get any more. Didn't get any at all. I was a big fan. I had hundreds. Some of mine are very rare now. Well, weirdly enough, when the whole war was starting between Sony and HD DVD, the way it was, where are you going to go? It was you're thinking, are you going to do this? Are you going to settle for a format? And I think me and John Hall were talking about this, and we both said we're going to sit back and wait and see what happens. And it was quite evident really early on that Sony were going to win and Blu-ray were going to come out. I mean, Sony's massive; that had a stranglehold on it. So for me, I enjoyed the fact I enjoyed the fact that I picked the one that was going to win purely for the fact of the HD DVD stuff stopped and it didn't come out. But I am interested in that format. I would never get any. I would never play them. I've got nothing to play them on. But so Baz, if you're watching, if you're still here, so how do you rate your stuff? And do you think they're better than Sony Blu-rays? Because some people reckon they do actually. Good question, though. But no, I never had one. I was thinking about, is there any movies that I've got that are like really my favorite movies? Say like Clockwork Orange is on there. It's not like, but I could get one just for like just to have on the shelf, just to say, oh look, this is another format. But I haven't known too many about them. And if they're rare now, I would never pay. It would have to be like for £1. I wouldn't go and say, oh, I got this for £100 and I'm never going to pay it. Don't want to go down that rabbit hole. Cheekster says, DVD, the format I invested into most, still have about 700. Must have had over 2,000 by the early noughties before trading in and selling lots of older releases of movies that I double or triple dipped on, etc. Yeah. Well, we've all been there. I must admit, I'm like, I know it's you've had that many formats, but my 4K formats are the ones that I'm really trying not to do anything like that. And I'm trying to buy them once. I'm trying to buy them good. I'm trying to buy, there's a special edition, which I think is worth it. I will get it. If it's not, I don't bother. And I want to make the 4K collection to be my most sensible collection. I think that looking back on it, on VHS, I used to buy everything that was there. I was insane with these VHS ones. I used to be like that with vinyl. Record singles, I used to buy singles like it was just going out of fashion. Got that many. And albums. But I think you might think that when you look at my channel, I'm insane with things now. I'm nowhere near as bad as I used to be. I used to be crackers when it came to stuff. So this is me in the sort of the moving on in my collection phase to a sensible time. But if you're coming in on it now, you may think, oh, I'm crazy. I'm not. I am very much reserved compared to what I used to be. Double, triple, God knows what. I don't think I ever really double dipped on Blu-rays. Sorry, on VHS, because I'll tell you why. Because on VHS, there's a there was only thing I used to. This is it. The only thing that I've used to sort of double dip on was the fact that when the widescreen ones came out. Now the widescreen, I don't think many people realize about this as well. The widescreen on Revelation was something else. When we used to watch these movies like Jaws, say for instance, when it was pan and scanned, if there was 3 people on the screen, they would focus on the person talking and would blow it up the screen, so the quality would go down. So your picture always looked dodgy on pan and scan. So this picture's coming up. You've got this person on here giving it that, and you've got the other 2 people reacting to it, but you don't actually see it, like when they're on a boat or when you're on the on the screen in general. When you saw widescreen 235, yeah, you get the bars, but it doesn't matter. You saw this whole picture, and don't forget, you probably watched the pan and scan version of Jaws 1,000 times, and then you were seeing it as the director intended. So this was a huge thing. So when the VHS widescreen boom came out, everybody double dipped on that. That was probably the most double dippy that VHS got. But obviously, when you got DVD, was crazy. Blu-ray I think Blu-ray is the worst for double dipping, I've got to say. That is the one that was the one that really sort of like done everyone's head in. But it was nothing worse with DVD. You used to say, right, I'm going to buy something like, I don't know, I'm going to buy Star Wars. Hey, that's it, I'm done. And then you go, hang on, there's another one coming out next time. Oh, it's in the States, but it's got a better extras. Or it's got better sound on it. It's got this, it's got that. It's in a box set. And you think, how many times are they going to release this? I do think 4K isn't as bad, but I'm mindful of not getting caught in that trap. I can double dip if I want to, but I tend not to out of necessity. I think there's nothing worse than if you go and double, triple dip on something and you think, oh, look at that. And that's getting back to the fact of, and I'm on here and it's great to share these things. So look, I've got 8 versions of Clockwork Orange. But if you say to the average Joe in the street, hello, I've got 8 versions of a Clockwork Orange, they just look at you like there's something wrong with you. And they just like say, well, more fool you. So if you know what I'm saying, I'm glad to be out of that nightmare of DVD and Blu-ray double and triple dipping. So good question, Cheekster. Pete says, I watched David Lynch's Wild at Heart last night, and it was certainly something. Willem Dafoe was absolutely terrifying, oh yes. And Nicolas Cage is pretty good. Is a pretty good singer. He's not too bad with his Elvis impression, but I tell you what, I remember when you were talking about you getting that movie, and I thought to myself, when you see Willem Dafoe in that movie, is he called Billy Baroo, with his teeth? Oh my God. It was, and he's slavering. It was one of those ones where you looked at it and you thought, I can't believe what I'm seeing. It's a David Lynch movie. You see all these movies and you think, this is like, how can I put it? Well, you're getting into something different with David Lynch, which is great. You just don't know what's going on the corner. And some of the things in Wild at Heart, it's a movie that I've got in Blu-ray. I would love to see it in 4K. And it does need to be watched. And I need to watch it again. There's a lot of movies that I need to watch again, as I keep saying. But it's a fine balance between watching the old stuff and the new stuff. And you want to don't let the new stuff go too far ahead. It's great having everything out in the shelves. If you have the things in the cupboards, there will be movies that I'll be getting today that I would forget about and I'll be in there for like years. And I'll think, oh, hang on, we're at the back of the cupboard. I can't remember getting this one. But yeah, Wild at Heart, great. Billy Baroo. Bar Lieutenant says, if a replacement for 4K comes along, will you start replacing your collection? I don't think so. And I'll tell you why. Obviously, it's going to be 8K. Now, I don't know how much 8K discs will be or 8K players are going to be, but I think they're going to be insane. Obviously, to start off, like they all are. VHS video recorders were ridiculous. They were like hundreds and hundreds of quid. This is back in the day. So nobody could get them, but then they come down in price, obviously. And I think that the only thing I would say is that I might do is to get an 8K telly. I don't think I will, but I might do. And it would upgrade it slightly to 4Ks. I don't think I'll get a 8K player. I might do if 8K player just to upgrade some of the 4Ks, but you're talking, I think it's going to be a minimal thing. I think between 4K and 8K, it's going to become that tight that, if a movie's shot in 8K and it's presented in 8K on an 8K telly, it'll look fantastic. But how many of those are going to be around? You're going to have to be buying new films. I just want to see old stuff, if I'm honest. The stuff I like new 4Ks, new films on 4K. I think they look great. But the whole previous thing of, we've done it too many times. Every collector on here will say you've had a million VHS, which I have. You've had a million DVDs, yes. You've had a fair amount of Blu-rays, probably, and 4Ks, if you went into that, you've got a fair amount, or you could have a fair amount. I'm trying to be quite keeping the reins together with me 4Ks. But it gets to the point where, I'm really glad that I stood on the fence for a long time with 4Ks. Didn't want to go there. But looked into research and I realized that it could be, the fact is you're going to upscale your other movies. You're going to have something that's future-proof and something you can get something with these nice big special editions if you wanted to. But to me, I think this is a good place to stop. I think that the quality of 4Ks are exceptional sometimes. And I think that, that big, I just don't see that I don't think the world is in the right place at all to be moving up that I think 8K will go more for streaming. You get an 8K telly, you get an 8K streaming, and they'll 8K upgrade movies, and I think you're done. I think that's as far as that's going to go. I don't think that physical media will go to that point, because I mean it's expensive to make 4K discs, to render them, to make them. So I think it's going to be a thing that most companies would probably just say we can't afford it, and I can agree with that. So, and it would save us a bit of money as well. I mean, I'd watch an 8K thing on the telly, and I'd watch an 8K telly, but yeah, I don't think I would go there. Good question though. I don't know if many collectors would. I think as well, I'm got to the age of 46, 54, and do I really want to do it again? I've been doing it all my life. I'm in a place now, yes, where I'm happy with everything that's going. Sometimes when you're younger, you want the next big thing, but I think now it's all good. It's happy. I'm happy with the quality. So yep, I don't think I will, but I said that about 4K. So Paul Millerman says, no, sorry, have I missed one? Yes. Cheekster says, to Blu-ray bars, HD DVD was the superior format in my opinion. I owned a few different players, didn't switch to Blu-ray afterwards until a few years after it launched. Yeah, I did hear that HD DVD was the better, but I think that I heard that Sony, would have been a bigger company, just froze out HD DVD, and that was it. It was done. And I think that appealed to a lot more markets. I think what they did was, without going into too many details, they went to the adult medium and they released loads of stuff on adult stuff. And I think that flooded the market and they won because of that. I could be wrong with that, but that's what I heard. Wow, bit underhand, isn't it? Millerman Paul says, glad I can watch today in hospital. Glad I watched today. Hospital can't. Oh, glad I can watch today. Hospital cancelled yesterday. Still using COVID. Lol. So what's the next big pickup? So yeah. So you were saying that yeah, your hospital is being cancelled today. I'm glad about that. So excuse me. What's the next big pickup? I've ordered the Highlander Special Edition. Wolf of Wall Street. Got to give over, lol. It's funny. I don't pre-order much, if I'm honest. I could pre-order a ton of stuff. There could be a mountain of stuff I would like to get, but I don't. Now, I'll tell you why I do that. If I've got 10 items on pre-order, I'll probably receive those 10 items. It's not about the money. It's about the fact of, do I really want those 10 items? So I think what I do is, rather than getting them, I've got to go out and get them and think, right, and have a look at them physically in the shop. Unless the ones that I know I've got to pre-order, ones that I know they'll never get in the shops, like the Doctor Who movies. So what I would rather do is, I'd rather physically get a hold of them and saying, right, is this worth it? Do I think that? Have I heard any reviews to say this is a great movie, or don't get this at all? Because if you do get these things, you will find that sometimes you might pre-order something, you might say, I can't believe I pre-ordered this because it's a load of rubbish. That's usually why I don't pre-order much stuff. So what I do is, I'll go out and buy something. The next big pickup that I'm thinking about, well, I know I'm going to get, is going to be the Show Scope Volume 2. That's a necessity. Now, do I get it on release? Probably. Do I pre-order it? No, I don't think I need to pre-order it. I don't know if there'll be a little bit of a special deal around about that time. I don't need to pre-order it. There'll be loads of them. There's still loads of the first box set, so I know it's never going to run out. So it's not as if it was going to run out, I would have to pre-order it. I do sort of pre-order some of the Argento stuff on 4K, but they're still around, so I didn't really need to, but I did want them. But I think that's now the Highlander Special Edition. I'm a fan of the movie. I don't know if I'm a massive fan of it, so it might not be one that I would pick up straight away. I might do though. That depends. And Wolf of Wall Street, I remember watching it. I didn't like it, but I need to go back and watch it. I've got a very cheap Blu-ray, so if I watch that and enjoy it, then I will pick up the 4K. Now, speaking of which, and it's when I go and Lost Boys is coming out, and also Poltergeist. Now, I love Poltergeist. I think it's one of the best movies ever made. Lost Boys, I didn't like it at all when I got it. When I first got it, I got it on VHS, and I thought, no, I'm not into it. Got it out the video library. Got it on DVD. Don't think I ever watched the DVD. Got it on Blu-ray. Put the Blu-ray on. Didn't like it. Now, I watched it yesterday. It's with a view to say, right, if I like this movie, I'll upgrade it. If I don't, what's the point? It might be the last time I'll ever see it. And I've got to say, I really, really enjoyed it. Now, the reason, and I thought to myself, why on earth did I not like this movie for this length of time? And I think what it was when I watched The Lost Boys, I watched it at the wrong time. I think I watched it when I was at 20. And when I watched it, I was at that age where I wasn't into sort of movies that appeal to maybe younger generation. It just seemed a bit like a Goonies movie when I was watching it. Didn't really care for it because of that. I did think that the people who were playing the punk rockers in it, I didn't think they were in any way, shape, or form representative of punk music. They were kind of like a real, like, wrong take on it. And the punk music I was into was, you were just a sort of, just a bit of a mess, really. You weren't in this sort of designer sort of stuff with your hair all over the place. It just didn't sit right with us. I know this sounds pathetic, and when you look at it now, you think, what on earth? But then when you're 20 and you think, know everything, you tend to go down this route, don't you, by thinking, no, that's not true. It's not punk enough, all that type of nonsense. So anyway, I think that's why I sort of put it in the back burner for this length of time. But now I went into it as a much older and sensibler guy. So maybe that's why, I tell you what, though, the Blu-ray looks unbelievably good. So it means that I can sit back and watch the 4K come down to the sale. I will probably get it in 4K, but it'll have to be in a sale, which is going to save me a little bit of money in the long run. But then again, if I miss out, it doesn't matter. I've got the Blu-ray, and the Blu-ray honestly, the Blu-ray looks exceptional. So if you're ever thinking about getting it and maybe don't know why you want to pay the money on the Blu-ray, the regular 4K, the regular Blu-ray is unbelievable. So Jim Jam movies and TV. All right, James. Hi, John. Hope you're well, mate. Yes, I'm doing good. James, hope you're doing well as well. Undead Sick says Anouk is more edgy for sure. She's kind of our rock and roll queen. I'm actually going to the new concert of, I'm going to say, is it a name? Eels Delange. I could be wrong about that. I don't know how to really pronounce the first one, in October. Oh, that's great, because I watched a few concerts of them both on YouTube, and I thought they were great. I thought they come across really good on the live concert, especially that Eels Delange. She seemed to be really sort of like going for it and that. I mean, they both did, but yeah, I did think that Anouk seemed to be a bit more, I'm going to say, like Pink type character to me. But yeah, I get that. So Jim Jam movies. James says, what's your favorite 80s comedy film? 80s comedy film. Well, I used to be banging. It's going to have to be probably a movie that I haven't watched for a while, but I used to watch it on a loop. The Man with Two Brains, Steve Martin. I think that movie is so funny. It's got tons of stuff in it, and it's one of those ones where you think, I wish we would make movies like that now. It seems to be, oh, there's the sun going in. I think that these things are, how can I put it? They're like of the time. And I hate to think that things are of its time, because really everything should be able to be enjoyed whenever. You shouldn't ever be able to say, oh, this is of its time and you can't watch it anymore. But there's a few things in it that would struggle with today, but then again, it doesn't really matter, does it? But yeah, The Man with Two Brains, I would say, is that. And another Steve Martin, but a lot of Steve Martin films, you love Steve Martin, The Jerk, Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid, All of Me. What was the other one that was Roxanne was okay, and Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, Three Amigos. Three Amigos is brilliant. So yeah, so I would say it would have to be Man with Two Brains, but I'm a big fan of Steve Martin from the 80s. Not so much these days, although that recent TV show he did, Only Murders in the Building, that was unbelievable. It's so good. And James says, glad I could join the live today. Yeah, glad to have you along, James. I know you do a lot of live stuff yourself. It's so funny, during the day, I find it very difficult to watch streams during the day. I find it difficult to watch them all on a live stream on the night time, should I say. But I do get them on catch up. I do like watching live streams. I think they're quite interesting because you don't know which way they're going to go. So James says, do you collect BFI movies, BFI releases? Yes, I do. Funny enough, I was doing a bit of a mooching on my shelves today, and I was like moving things around, which I think is what I do. You know, I kind of maneuver things. And I had two shelves. I had Eureka ones on and had BFI ones. I've been managed to get them onto one shelf. I'm seeing two shelves like that, and I put them onto one shelf. Yes, I think that BFI, when they do release, they do excellent releases. I've got a lot of time for BFI. I try to get them in a sale because sometimes it can be really expensive, but I do know when I'm getting a BFI one. A bit like Eureka, a bit like Criterion. When you buy one, they might be a bit expensive. They might not be, but when you get them, you know you're in for something good. The good thing about BFI is it doesn't matter when they release them. You could be getting one after. In fact, I got the first down as Eureka, but I got the first ever Eureka title and also like a really old BFI title. I've always got the books in as well. They don't have them as limited runs, which I think is excellent. So yeah, I do collect. I don't collect them all, but I really, when a movie's on BFI, I'm quite pleased to see it on there, and I do know it's going to be a great version of that movie. So James says, thoughts on the upcoming remake of my favorite film? Well, that'll be Never Ending Story. Well, if I'm honest, I don't know how you think, James, but I would say that why? It's the Never Ending Story. I've watched it. I think it's I watched it back in the day and I've rewatched it recently. I do think it's a brilliant film, and I do think it's of its time, but that's in a good way. It speaks the 80s, and everything about it is like it's nostalgia. I think it's a pure nostalgia trip, and I think it's really good. And I think it's really, really well done. I think the effects are absolutely outstanding, considering when it was made. So for that reason, shouldn't be touched. Why should it be touched? It's obvious that someone's went around and says, "Oh, people like this movie. Let's make another one." Maybe they could make a sequel to it, but I don't think they should remake it, because I think a remake of that is an absolute waste of time. In the way of, I would imagine, well, the only thing they've got to do if they do it, they've got to get Lamal singing the theme tune back again, because that's one of the best things about that song, that movie, because the movie is it's a great movie, but that song makes it for me. I don't know why. I like cheesy 80s movies. I just got the other day one I was after for ages, and it was one of the ones where the album is £200 if you want to buy it. It's got the words by F.R. David on it. I just had to get that song because of it was on the soundtrack to an audience with Beverly Loughlin, which is an exceptional movie. So I was so glad to get that. Nige helped us out with that theme tune, because if I had to pay £200, it's not £200 good, but wow. But yes. So Stephen Moorhead says, "Hi John, your channel is great." Thanks, Stephen. Thanks for that. My bro-in-law Gordon, who you met a few months ago, told me about it. Well, yes, Gordon. Yeah, he was the first person that I actually met, like out, in the world. And it was funny because I was with a very short story. You probably know this, but if you don't, I was in the CX with just me and Deborah's sister, the Lisa, and of course the bold Emily, my niece. We were just going. I says, "Look," I says, "come with me." I said, "Do you want to come out for a run?" Because I come up for the weekend from Barnsley. I said, "Do you want to go for a run? I'm going to go to CX, and I'm going to go to North Shields to get CXS, CEX." And they said, "Yeah, we'll come along." And when we were there, we went to Greg's to get some stotties, the best bread ever in the world. And when we were there, we were waiting for the queue to go down, and this guy came in, picked up just a bunch of stuff like sarnies that were in this sort of like gangway, just picked them all up, gave Emily a wink and just walked out. And she said, "I can't believe it. Someone just pinched that from there." I says, "Better get used to it. It just happens all the time here." So found it nuts. But then we went up to CX when I was in there. Gordon came up and just said, "Are you off the telly? You know, not the telly. Are you off YouTube? Want to watch other movies?" And I was like, "Yeah." I tell you what, it was such a weird feeling to have. It was funny because when I was there with Lisa beforehand, she was saying about stuff and that says, "Oh," jokingly, I said, "Yeah, you better watch out, man, because I'll be flagged by people asking for me autographs in the shops." So she was laughing. And then that happened, and I said, I can't believe it. And so it was great. It was great to see Gordon. And I've spoken to Gordon a few times, just on chat messages and that. And but nice to know that, Stephen. That's great. So, been watching your previous vids when I get be watching your previous chance when I get your vids when I get a chance. Keep up the good work. Well, thanks, Stephen. That's great. And wow, what a small world, eh? That's amazing, actually. But yeah, Gordon, he was really good. And actually, I met his wife as well, and we had a photograph. It was a surreal experience, but I was really glad it happened because I don't know, it did knock us back in a good way. I was kind of like, wow, this is it. This is someone actually saying, "Are you that person?" And I'll have to wear like a wig and dark, glasses and the tashes now. No. So Pete says, "I've been picking up a few Criterions over the past week, and as they're on sale, and they're great, and I find the picture quality is very good. The prices are still quite high for some titles." Yeah, I totally agree. I think that the movies that they pick are sometimes not my cup of tea, but some of the movies they do are really my cup of tea. I mean, Pink Flamingos. I mean, some people say that Criterion are very snobbish, but I don't think that at all. They know they can get some really bizarre movies into their sort of like collection. I do think that I try to get them on a sale. If I was to go and buy them at full price, it would wipe us out. I couldn't afford to buy them. It's a shame because there's a few there that I do really want, but I know that when I get them, they have to be in a sale type of scenario because I really want them. Because I got Pink Flamingos and it was in the sale the next week. Can you believe it? It was only a couple of quid off, but still I thought, but I needed to get it because it had a slipcover, which was strange for Criterion because I don't really do that. Now, Pink Flamingos is one of my favourite films, but I can understand if anybody thought it was the worst thing they've ever seen in their life. I like things like that. I like movies where they divide people so much that you could say that's one of my favourite movies. I get so much out of it, but some other people could say that literally scarred me watching that movie. I like that sort of things, that juxtaposition where you can say, I don't say I like that because of that. Oh, I like Pink Flamingos, therefore look at me. It's not for that. It's just amazing how somebody can like something so much and somebody can think it belongs in a rubbish tip set in fire. I think that's great, actually. But yes, I think that's the main thing you can think about with a Criterion. If you're going into buying one in a sale or whatever, you will see that film in probably the best picture quality you will ever see that film in, and that's what they're renowned for. Yes, the movies are expensive, but I think a lot of that is you're paying for the fact that they've done a really expensive remaster. They usually do their own remasters and they don't get anybody else to do it, so it's all in house, but it costs a bit of money. So yeah, it is an expensive hobby, but Criterions are good for what you want them. Always trust them. That's what I'm say. You never get ones that you look at it and say this is absolutely, well, seeing that Pink Flamingos isn't the best quality, but it never was. But it's good, actually. The version they've done is the best I've seen it. Mark Chat says HMV was selling off HD players for €1 when Blu-ray won the war. I should have picked up one. Regrets, I've had a few. Exactly. If I'd known that, I would have done one myself. I would have done it. I would have picked up two. Because it's a format I've been interested in. I always see them in CEX. They've always got a little corner where they've got 3 or 4 there. I've never looked at them to see how much they are. I think they are still a couple of quid. But the thing is, you can't. It would be amazing if you could pay them on your Blu-ray player, which obviously you can't because it's a format war, isn't it? Yeah, they wouldn't recognize. Well, Sony obviously being the bigwigs, they did sort of win the war. And to be honest, when you heard the name Sony and HD DVD, you just knew which way that was going to go, didn't you? So on here, I wish I could highlight this comment that's come up here from Danny Jukes. He has put a thing on here for £20. Here here, get yourself something for doing a great videos. I've got to say, Danny, that's unbelievable, Danny. I can't believe that you're doing that. I saw it coming up and I didn't. I just wow. Thanks so much for that, Danny. And when someone does something like that for you, it's don't you worry, that'll be put to something really good, and it would be used in that way. And I always say when somebody would do that for me, I would love to do something for somebody else. And the only thing you can really do kind of is to say shout out, to Danny Jukes, or if he wanted to tell me anything you wanted to get shout out, like a channel or people that you knew or anything, I would. So I'm going to say, Danny, if there's anything you want us to do for that, within reason, if there's anything you want us to do to repay that, to anything, just give us a shout, and I will do that. But thanks, £20. Thanks, Danny. That is unbelievable. I want to thank you very much on that one. So unexpected, and also it's kind of taking us back a bit. But yes, I will definitely get something for that, and it will be definitely something I will talk about and to show off, and it will be the thing that I got. But thanks for that, mate. And honestly, if there's anything you want doing from me, just let us know, because sometimes it feels that when somebody does that for you, you don't know how to repay them. In words only go so far, but actions speak louder than words. But if you want anything, if you want some Mondo Chalavek CDs, you're more than welcome. There's plenty there, and or anything, just tell us what you would like. I'm sure you are you friends with us on Instagram, War and Peace 666. If you don't know about that one, just get yourself over there. I'm on Instagram a lot more than anything else. I find Instagram to be very unobtrusive. I think that I prefer the format of it. I think you don't have to look for anything on there. It's all there, and you just see stuff and you have a bit of chats and that. I've chatted to quite a few people on Instagram. So if you want to get in touch on Instagram or anything like that, that'd be great. But thanks once again, Danny. Really appreciate that, mate. Wow. Undead6 says, I have about 8 titles from 88 films on pre-order. They are becoming my favorite label more and more. Arrow is much more mainstream now. I agree. I pre-ordered Robin Hood, but it's not as interesting anymore. I've got to say, I totally agree with everything you said there, Undead. The 88 films are the ones where I go to. I spend my time looking at their stuff a lot more than Arrow now. Arrow are good to get. To be honest, Arrow have that many sales. I just look for stuff in Arrow sales. The only thing I really get excited for is when they release something that's like one you have to get from the site, like the Don't Go in the House one, and some of the art original ones of the Dario Argento movies. I would love them to do a bit more Lucio Fulci on 4K, but they seem to be very much either mainstream or movies that you just think they're so obscure that you've got to get in a sale, because if you don't get them in a sale, you might be actually thinking to yourself, what on earth have I got this for? I got £17 to £18. Don't people going about Criterion being expensive, but Arrow, yes, you get like quite a good thing on the original like releases, but I do think that Arrow are getting a little bit kind of, especially if they're going to say, I've done a really big special edition of a really obscure movie that no one's ever heard of, and it could be absolute garbage, and then you spent that money on it. So I'm very wary of Arrow these days. I will get them, like I say, when I saw that movie for about £6, that Ghost Waits, I thought that's a good price to get it. If it's terrible, I haven't wasted the money. I could always put it back in and probably get about £4. I don't know, in CX these days, you look one day and it's worth £8, and then you go to the shop and say, it's only £6 now. And you probably walk out of the shop and it's worth £4. And a bit like that. But yeah, I do agree. I think that there's very little that excites me with Arrow these days. And to be honest, back in the day when Arrow coming out in 2012 and that sort of early 2010s, the stuff Arrow putting out, you were just constantly buying that stuff. That's where I got most of my stuff from. These days, I get most of my Arrow stuff from sales, but 88 is me jam now, if that's a thing. Mark Stewart, I would like cinema wide TVs to make a comeback. As Philips made a TV in 2009, we would benefit from that more in 8K. Weirdly enough, you know, Mark, I was just thinking about this the other day when they had that huge widescreen TV. You know, it was that wide, and you had, if I'm right in thinking, it was the full 235 scope, and it was so long, but it was quite short like that. Now, the only problem with that is when you watch normal TV, it had, you know, it cut it down so all the TV was black at the sides, so you could only get the widescreen effect on, say, movies like Jaws and 2001, that type of thing, or the big CinemaScope ones. So, but I thought they were really interesting. But I tell you what, I think I saw one in the wild once, 2009, and that was it. They were done. It was literally one that came. Same with these ones that are like bent as well. The ones that go around a bit. They seem to have just died a death, I think. But yeah, I think it would be, if you could get a huge one as well, that could, or maybe one that could kind of alter, you know, a bit like they do at the cinema. That'd be brilliant, wouldn't it? Imagine that. Mac chats, I'm unloading a lot of DVDs. If there's any titles you're on the lookout for, and I have, you're welcome to it. Well, actually, to be honest, Mac, that's great, because if you can get in touch with us on Warren Peace 666 on Instagram, we're gonna have a chat about that, because there's sometimes there's some DVDs that I'm really after that you just can't get in Blu-ray, but you just forget about and something like that. But yeah, if you could do that, that would be great. Actually, that's very generous of you, actually, Matt. It is. Pete says, unfortunately, my HMV seems to be moving out of boutique titles and just focusing on mainstream titles. Maybe a lot of these titles will be online and pre-order in the store only now. Well, weirdly enough, I've been talking, as you know, to my good friend Stephen Mason from the Gateshead branch of HMV. Now, he is very passionate about boutique labels, and he likes to have the boutique labels and the horror stuff there. Now, I'm not going into too much detail, but he said it's that HMV focus on different things, and his stuff is kind of always at jeopardy to say, can you make that smaller? Can you do this? Can you do that? But the thing of that is that he does fight for that, and he makes sure that the boutique label stuff stays in his shop. So I think that maybe if the people in the shop are a bit as passionate as Stephen is, that they might be able to keep that stuff there. So maybe the stuff people who work in that shop aren't that, I mean, I'm only speculating here, aren't that bothered, and they just take what's given to them. But I think that Stephen sort of stands up and just says, look, this is good stuff. People do like watching this stuff. There's a lot of people interested in it. I know it's boutique labels, and you can class it as something that's not really widely thought of, but do keep that stuff there. So they've got a fair, really good selection in there. But I do know that especially, I tell you what gets smaller and smaller is the horror Blu-ray section. It's getting smaller, and it's quite big in the Metal Center compared to the other ones, but it's still small. It used to be huge, but now is that a sign that times? Sometimes when you see these mountains and mountains of DVDs, the TV shows on DVDs and the TV series, and you think, who on earth buys this? And it's there forever. But there's rows and rows and rows of dedicated stuff to that, and not much to any. Well, the other things are very much niche. I do agree with you, Pete, but that's why I don't like the pre-order, because I like to go in the shop and pick something up and say, well, this is great, or it's not that good. I don't like it in the flesh. I'll put it one side. I'll save myself a bit of cash, because sometimes, like you say, you can pre-order everything. You can pick it up and it can come damaged, as you know. So it's one of those ones where I love to have the option to have these things to be bought in store, and I can pick it up and say, right, it passes all the tests, take it home, put it in the shelves, and it'll be in pristine condition forever, as opposed to getting something that's damaged or knocked and you think, oh, I've got to put up with that. It's just my opinion on that. But I think a lot of people do not like the fact that if you pay, sometimes these special editions can be like £60, £70 that you're paying for something that's not that big, and it's knocked or split or cut, and you just can't believe it. So I like the physical thing of that. So hopefully that, Pete, that your HMV won't go that way, but I think it's the way of the world at the minute, unfortunately. Chickster says, at Mark Stewart, I'm surprised it took so long before any manufacturer released a 21:9 ratio TV, but I don't think they sold enough units and hence got phased out. Shame. Yeah, it was a thing that it came out and was like, wow, but I just don't think it got. I think it's one of the ones it's a great idea, but I just don't think it caught on. Unfortunately, I can tell that by the fact that I only saw one in the shop, and I've never seen anybody with it in the house at all. I never heard of anyone buying one, even. But I think it was a great idea. I remember it coming out and being tempted myself, but it was like a large amount of money, and the Deb says, "No way, Jose." So there you go. Right, so where am I? Yeah, Mark Stewart. If 8K Blu-ray becomes mainstream for all films on only 65mm and 70mm film would really benefit. I do agree, Mark. I think that the 65 and 70mm 4Ks that you get look unreal. It's if you can see it's the same like if you know someone's got a good print, like what was filmed in 35mm, 65, 70, if you know it's filmed in that, it's a knock and bet that this movie is going to look the best that the movie's out. It's going to blow all of these new movies out of the park because there's that much information on the screen that they can get from, they can digitize. So I think that I think the fact that 8K would benefit that, but then again, is there enough of these movies around to warrant that? And only thinking this from a company's point of view, are they going to say, oh, well, we're not going to do that because of the fact that if we do that, is it worth, because it's all about money. I can understand that. Say if you set yourself up to do, oh, we're going to do this, and it fell flat in its face, well, you're out of business, aren't you? You're bankrupt. So you've got to, it's a tricky one to get into, but I do think that big companies like Sony, who don't put slipcovers on new releases like Spider-Man No Way Home or what it's called, they want to have a word in themselves about that one. That's disgraceful, but never mind. We'll have a stream about that, couldn't we? Alex Pattinson says, Past John, sorry, the guy that served me didn't have a beard. All right, yes. He might have shaved it off. But well, I know him from I saw him. I don't know what he's called, but I knew he used to live down. In Whitby Bay. Probably still does. But yes, so thanks for getting back to us, Alex, with that. It's just the fact that I might have to take a much in that shop and see what this bloke's all about, or this shop's all about. That I haven't been there for yonks. I don't know if they're selling movies or anything like that, but be interesting to see if he actually does sell movies. In fact, what's today? I can't even. Tuesday, is it? Yeah. Is it? Wednesday, my God. Yeah. I think I might take a much down. I'm going down that way soon anyway. I've got to take that Dog Soldiers back and hide in the shop and say, right, get rid of that. Hopefully they'll accept it. Well, they will. I might take a much down there, just around the corner actually from there. Andy Hogg says, pleasant surprise to see you live this morning, mate. Well, thanks for that, Andy. And it's something that I used to do maybe about a year ago before I knew the StreamYard was a thing, that you could get like other people on. I would love to get other people on here to have a live stream with other people, but you just can't do it. It's literally yourself and that's it. And I thought to myself, hang on a minute, I've got this YouTube live stream and which I should like doing in the mornings. I can do that again, and just to sort of catch up, just to catch. I'm enjoying this because I'm just catching up with everybody, just sort of like shooting the breeze. But I do like the shared live streams as well. But yes, it's something I'll probably. Maybe I'm going to say this. I might do one a month, something like that if people do enjoy this. And I do like watching these type of things. I tell you, who does a great one, Daisuke Beppu. I don't know if you know his channel. He's such a really entertaining guy, and I've watched his channel for a long time. And he does these sort of just one-on-one live streams, just literally like this from YouTube. And I've always been a fan of those ones. I think his delivery is spectacular. So if you don't know Daisuke Beppu's channel, go and check it out. He's a really nice bloke as well. Clark Teddles. Hi, John. Hope you're well. Yes, I'm doing well, Clark. Hope you're well. Hope it's not a crazy time for you in Australia. It might be a better time for you than the evening streams that we do. This might be in a sort of daytime period for yourself. Hopefully. I hope it's not like 3 o'clock in the morning or anything. Alex Patterson says, favorite director that needs 4Ks for me would have to be Peckinpah. Where my Wild Bunch, Cross of Iron Getaway, where my Wild Bunch, right, teeth are coming out. Where my Wild Bunch, Cross of Iron, Gateway 4Ks. Wow. I'm going to have to take a drink on that one. Yes, Sam Peckinpah. Am I just right in thinking? I don't think I'm right in thinking, but he might have been. Did he make Soldier Blue? Because that was what a movie that was. Wow. I remember looking through this book and I noticed that I had Soldier Blue in here and I thought, I forgot all about that movie. Now that movie really needs to come out. And if you want to know about a controversial movie, you need to look no further than Soldier Blue. I'm pretty sure you did, but The Wild Bunch, what a movie that is. Cross of Iron, sure I've seen that. But The Wild Bunch on 4K, I mean, looks good on Blu-ray. Can you imagine that on 4K? But Sam Peckinpah, I'm sure he did, what's it called? Straw Dogs, I think. Could be wrong. Bad Lieutenant says, did you ever indulge yourself in Laserdiscs? No, I didn't. Some of those are worth silly money now. Yeah, you're right. I know that the only one I knew who had Laserdisc was John Hall, and he had quite a few. And I think we watched in his house, watched Halloween 2. And looking back on it, I can't remember what the quality was like. I do know it was a massive jump up from anything I've ever seen before. And Halloween 2 was always a dodgy one to get in the UK because it was just never good quality. But this, but no, I didn't. I realized how much John was spending on his stuff, and I thought I can't. And then DVDs come out. I thought, you know what it is. The fact is that much I love looking at the whole like laser disc, the 12-inch discs. I just thought for convenience, DVD is going to win out all the time. So that's why I went for that. But yes, if I think he's actually sold his collection now. I could be wrong, but if he hasn't, he's probably sitting on a gold mine because they are ultra collectible. I think every forgotten media gets its sort of time in the sun when it comes to forgotten stuff. I think cassettes are making a slight comeback. CDs look like they're going to make a bit of a comeback. Eventually, CDs might be the new VHS, where people are just going crazy for them. Who knows? That's why I've kept all my CDs. Not I'm going to sell them, but it's just the fact that people might say, oh, wow, you've got a CD. What is it? And I've got all these, strange CDs. Clark says, the 4K Steelbook artwork for Pulp Fiction and Reservoir Dogs have been released. Hopefully they get a nice new 4K scan from the original camera negatives. Yes, me too, Clark. The big problem is maybe if they don't, it's just a lost opportunity. Plus, as well, if they don't, it means that you think that there's got to be another remaster of it coming down the line from somebody. Maybe Arrow might even get their hands on it. So I'm always sitting on the fence with Tarantino movies, sadly, because I love them. I just think that I don't want to buy them. The Blu-rays look really nice. And I had Reservoir Dogs when you couldn't get it in the UK, and it was one of those ones where you had to go to your pals and get it on a really awful copy. So I've seen it in some horrendous states, but obviously it looks great on the Blu-rays, amazing. But I would love to see an original camera negative done for that, because these movies are that good that they need that. And if they're not, I think it's a travesty and it's a wasted opportunity. Plus, that means you'll probably get a one later on, which I wouldn't touch them if they were lackluster, because that would be getting into the whole double dipping thing, which I try to avoid these days. Mark Stewart says both Lost Boys and Poltergeist look excellent in the 4K. Yeah, I've watched a lot of reviews from people. I've watched 4K Chef, and I've asked him. I was talking to him the other day, and we're talking about just those in general, and Friday the 13th, and he said about the whole quality of these movies just looking great. I do think that when I've looked at the Blu-rays of Poltergeist and Lost Boys, they all look good. the Blu-rays look really nice. So I know well, I don't know for a fact, but I know that if they were done right, they would look great. And it's great to have this people on here sort of doing the whole the talking about how good they are, because you need that sort of somebody just to say, somebody who you trust to say that looks brilliant. Because if it comes out, you think, oh, that's going to look good, and then somebody you trust says looks bad, mine, then you avoid. So, but I've had the thumbs up from quite a few people, so I definitely know that I will be getting them at some point. I just don't know how or what. I think The Lost Boys will probably be down in the sale. Maybe the same with Poltergeist. I have got it on Blu-ray, and I need to watch it because I didn't hold off for any reason, but I want to watch the three of them because I got the 3-pack, and I like Poltergeist too. I think it's a brilliant movie, that. So Bali10 says, Alex would love to see Convoy and Straw Dogs in 4K. Convoy, yeah, that was what a film that was. It was huge back in the day, Convoy. Cy Robson says, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, yes. I think that's probably the other one I was thinking about. What a movie that is. In fact, all of the movies were just absolutely brilliant. Yeah, so thanks for that, Cy. Yes, amazing. Mark Chad says, The Man with Two Brains for me is top 5 funniest villains of all time, hands down. Also see Skin Deep with John Ritter. I don't think I've seen that one, but I tell you what a movie that Problem Child with John Ritter in. That's so funny, that one. It's one of those movies where it's another one where you don't imagine it. I mean, the fact that his adopted son has a hero worship with a serial killer, and he just behaves badly to the point of where he nearly ends up killing people. It's an amazing film. It's a kid's film as well. It's just so good, but it's one of those ones where could it make it now? I'm glad it's out. I'm glad it's been done, but could they actually physically make it now? That's another story, isn't it? But Skin Deep with John Ritter. I'll keep an eye out for that one. Thanks, Mark Chats. Millaman Paul says, once met Kiefer Sutherland doing Diana concert at Wembley. Shook his hand because at that time 24 was on. He was so nice and thanked me for liking his show, and he was doing one in London, which he did. So yeah, so it's great that these press summit here. It's one of those ones where you press one of them 3 stars and it says, do you want to block this person? No, I don't. I know that Paul Millerman 1 2 3 4 5. He said he worked with artists setting gigs up and that. So he's met a lot of people over the years. And to be honest, when I watched Lost Boys the first time round, the only one I really liked in it was Kiefer Sutherland. I thought he was believable. I thought the other ones, I mean, going back to it now, I don't really feel that way. But I think that I thought, oh, he's got long hair. He's not a punk. That type of thing. Wow. That's what you're like when you're a bit of a punk, you're a bit of one of them people. Chickster says, at Bad Lieutenants, I invested in Laserdisc back in 1994, along with a 36-inch widescreen TV and a Dolby Pro Logic setup. The quality was unbelievable compared to VHS. Sold my collection once DVD had launched. Yeah, I think that when you had that huge jump in also as well, the ease of DVD. You just took it out. You didn't have to rewind it. You didn't have to do anything. You didn't have to make sure that nobody touched the tape. It was like a revelation. So to be honest, the size of them, you could fit all these like 3 or 4 DVDs in the same space as a VHS. There was no comparison. So that's why I think the VHS bit the dust so badly at the time. Looking back on it, it's all right. I like the quality, when you're watching home movies and stuff like that. And I like some of these movies that get the AGFA range. They are like a VHS copy. And they're all right. They're all right to watch. Don't offend us. It's not that. I don't feel offended by VHS. I feel that they just were so antiquated immediately when DVDs come out. That's why they were just binned. Looking back on them, there's a lot of nostalgia for them. I do think that I would like to have a few, maybe 100 titles I should have kept from me VHS collection, but it is what it is. They probably, God knows where they went. I mean, I don't imagine that the bloke still got them down in the Whitley Bay shop. Cy Robson says, have you seen the new trailer for Hellraiser? I'm not sure what to make of it. To be honest, I haven't. I very rarely watched watch trailers, if at all. I try not to. The only problem is with new films that, especially Hellraiser, I think that after Hellraiser 2, they went downhill. And I could imagine them being really, really downhill now. I haven't seen a movie after Hellraiser. Well, I've seen Hellraiser 3 once. Didn't really care for it. So I haven't seen it. And to be honest, I don't think I'll be watching it. I hear all bad things about, I mean, I'll tell you what I did watch, which I didn't talk about what I watched this month. I watched Scream 5. And I thought it was the biggest load of twaddle I've ever seen in my life. And the reason why, for what I thought that was, I put it on and I thought, it started off, I'm not going any spoilers, I only saw about half an hour of it. Started a bit similar to Scream. I thought, that's not too bad. And then something happens on your phone, you start like looking on your phone for something, and maybe I was looking on who was acting in this movie. And then it must have been on for half an hour. When I sort of put my phone back down, I thought, I haven't watched anything of this movie. Nothing of this movie is interesting for me to think I need to go any further. It's just turned off. So it didn't grab my attention any way, shape, or form. And to be honest, I think these movies like Hellraiser and stuff like that, I think I'll be going down that route. I do like to put my phone when I probably charge my phone up when I'm watching the telly, me videos and movies, shall I say. I will put the phone out my reach. It's in another room. Don't have my phone then, so I can pay full attention to it. But also, it was there, and I looked at it, and I didn't even want to watch the film. So I think that would probably be the same with Hellraiser, unfortunately, Si, but I don't get much out of them. I just think they're a bit of a waste of time. I think they should just leave it well alone. I think they should have had done for a long time. By Lieutenant at Cheekster 777, it was a superior format, but didn't sell very well. Betamax and V2000 were supposed to be the superior to VHS, but they were eventually phased out. Yeah, I remember a lot of people had, back in the day, a lot of people, the first fella, this lad called Paul Wright, still knocking around, and I see him every now and again, Wrighty. He says that his dad was the first person that we knew to have a tape, and it was a Betamax. So of course, when you used to go around this house, someone would say, "I've got a tape for you," and you say, "That's VHS. I can't play that. It wouldn't fit in the thing." So that was great. But we saw some stuff around his house on them Betamax, and his dad had some stuff as well, like movies, like horror movies, all that type of thing, which he found. So yeah, we'll watch some weird stuff. But yeah, it's all. We haven't had a big war on anything recently, have we? I think streamers might be the big war where some company has got something, the rights to Marvel, and they won't give them to anybody else. That type of thing, which is it's a bit. Well, it is what it is, isn't it? Mark Chat's Neverending Story has 2 sequels. They're bad, really bad. To be honest, I think I've seen Neverending Story 2 way back in the day, but I'm not wanting to go back to them. I thought Neverending Story is a really good movie. It did everything it set out to do. Don't think it should get remade. And the sequels, yeah, I don't think I'll be going near them. There might be fans of them. Cheekster says, yes, very niche and expensive. I paid £120 for Terminator 2 Special Edition box set, which was crazy for a single movie about 30 years ago. Yeah. It's some of the things that they had out there, it was insane. The price, I mean, yes, today you've got some things that aren't worth the money, and I know that. Although I got the Show Scope one for about 70 quid, which is a great price for that. Is it worth 120? Not particularly, but it's so good. It's so nicely done. And it will keep its price if you ever wanted to keep it and sell it, which I don't want to do. But I try not to pay anything. Well, I paid, excuse me, I paid about 150 for the Criterion version of Godzilla, which I love that. I love that set. You can't put it anywhere. It's quite useless in a fashion, but I love the fact that it just went to that length. I don't know why they did it, but I like that. But yeah, there was so to be honest, if people think these days that it's a thing of the now where people pay a large amount of money for special editions of today, it was always there. It was the VHS could be insane at times, especially the second-hand market. The DVDs as well had some special editions which were in Blu-rays, so it's been around forever. You've just got to know, do you do it or not? do you regret it or not? That's the big thing. Do you do this thing and think, what on earth did I do that for? And I think sometimes even the Criterion Godzilla, which it's in a cupboard, I'll get it out every now and again and look at it. I don't regret it at all, because the movies itself, it's just great to have all of their movies in one place. That's the selling point of that for me. I would prefer it in a smaller box, but it came like that. So that's the way it is. So Barra 10 says, Mac, the original is fantastic, though. It still brings a tears to these 50-year-old eyes. I would imagine that's the Never-Ending Story, yes. It gets quite heavy, actually, in times. Danny Dukes, there is already the Never-Ending Story 1984, the Never-Ending Story 2, the next chapter 1990, the Never-Ending Story 3, 1994. Yes, I don't think it's, well, maybe do a sequel or something, but I just don't think that it just needs to be, I don't know. I don't personally think that needs to be remade. By Lieutenant, have quite a few films that divide opinion in my collection, my favourite one being King Frat. Yes. An Animal House ripoff directed by Ken Eyes of a Stranger Wiederhorn. Yes, King Frat. Yes, I remember that one. That was one we used to always get out the VHS library, and I'm sure I was watching one of those AGFA titles. It was called the Big Dolls House, or whatever, the Big Dolls, I think it's called, and exploitation movie on this thing. It was really good, actually, and one of the girls in it, I'm sure I looked in what she'd been on previously, and I looked at a few of them, all been this one film. But I'm sure she'd been in King of Frat as well. I was like, oh, wow. I think she played a big part in it as well. And I thought, I'd love to go and see that movie again, because we used to love it. Well, I do remember what it was about. Farting competition, wasn't it? Wow. That was in it. Fraternity, King Fraternity. We didn't know what a fraternity was, so we thought a frat was a way, like a polite way of saying fart. Yeah. So Danny Duke says, you're okay, I just want to send you something. Well, honestly, Danny, I know it sounds, it's hard to put that in the words where you say something like that, but it's amazing to receive something like that, Danny. It really is. And I will definitely seek out something, and I will definitely get it. And when I seek it out, I will make a video on it, and it'll make a dedicated video. Actually, one thing I can do for you is I can make a dedicated video on that particular title. What I'll do is, if I get it, I'll get one, I'll review it, I'll look at it, I'll review it fully, I'll do a dedicated video on it, and I'll dedicate the video to yourself, Danny, if that's okay. It didn't seem much to do, but I would like to do something for that, because I do really appreciate that, mate. I really do. Andrew Snickers, hey John, how's it going? Didn't expect to wake up to a live stream. Well, it's funny because I've been wrecked for the past couple of days. It takes a while to get your sort of head around, the week's work you've done. But anyway, looking back on it, I'm glad that I thought, will I be with it this morning? But I think I'm okay, apart from not being able to put me words together in certain titles, certain things. But it seems to have gone all right. I'm really glad that I did it, actually, because sometimes you think, is anybody interested in a solo live stream these days? But I think if anybody can do it, I think on YouTube, definitely try and do it. I think it's been quite a good one, actually, when it's a great way to chat to the people who are there, because sometimes you shared live streams, it's hard to get through all the messages, and you feel bad for it. Don't get us wrong, you feel bad for not being able to go all the way through. But I think that it's this is a good sort of way to be sort of like one-on-one with people, if that makes sense. Dr. Impossible of Counterpunch, excuse me, Dr. Impossible of Counterpunch 1984, the best name on YouTube. To be honest, John, there is not much else for Arrow to release. With so many boutique labels now, it's becoming increasingly difficult to get licenses. Well, I can see your point there, Doctor. It's one of those things where Arrow seemed to have free reign back in the day, because 88 didn't exist. You didn't have 101. You didn't have anybody really. All you had was like Scream Factory in the States, probably nothing else. Blue Underground. So yeah, maybe they've kind of, and I think maybe with them getting into that hut group thing, I think they're more thinking they're going to go into the mainstream thing. I know 88 are trying. I'm not saying they're trying desperately, but they're trying to remain to the niche market, the sort of collector's market. I know they're going to try and do that for as long as possible. I know that on the way that they've talked about their channel, their company from day one, they've always been fans of doing this. So hopefully they'll not get in cahoots with anybody who's like a big group, and they'll kind of get swallowed up, and maybe the big group are pulling some of the strings when it comes to what Arrow shouldn't or shouldn't do, possibly. So Dot also says MGM/Amazon are still dragging their heels over back catalog titles. The BFI had a deal with MGM before the acquisition of MGM with Amazon. Indicator didn't even have a deal with MGM. I think that the MGM, it's funny because these big groups or these big companies that go in cahoots with somebody in Amazon, it does work to a certain extent, but it does leave things behind. You do leave, things when you hear about an MGM movie that's like deserves to be out, but it's just not getting done. And it's got to do a lot with bedfellows. I think 88 are good bedfellows with what's the other company they're going for? Vinegar Syndrome. I think between them they sort of help each other out, which is great actually. And I like to see two boutique labels, like the ones who release like low budget stuff in together, and they can help each other out. But I think sometimes when you get like these bedfellows of these big conglomerates, if that's a word, it doesn't really work out that well sometimes. And sometimes it's a lot of them going to say they're going to provide a lot of this stuff, and it never happens. And in the meantime, you don't get that stuff from anybody else. Dot also says Sam Peckinpah, where's me ladders, did the Ballad of Cable Hogue with the late Jason Robards. The film reflects Peckinpah's own life within the characters of Ballad, and it's a great film too. I haven't heard of that one, if I'm honest. I do know that every Peckinpah film I've seen I've enjoyed. Where am I? Yeah. Bad Lieutenant, one of my favorites. Yes, one of my earliest memory of VHS with a 12-year-old watching a very poor quality Scandinavian movies. My best mate's father used to rent us 18 very films, such as the Bruce Lee films, Video Nasties, etc. Yeah, there was loads of stuff flying about, wasn't there? We'll just leave it at that. But yeah, everybody went for the Bruce Lee films, even though they're heavily cut. And Video Nasties was always a big thing when someone would say, I don't know if when you even knew all the Video Nasties would just say, look, we've got this amazing film. Like it just had the Burning had a reputation. When somebody had The Burning, I don't know if you knew it was particularly banned at the time. I don't think it had been banned at that time. And say, I can't wait to watch this. Because these reputations used to get passed around the schoolyard. You've got to see this, you've got to see that. Mainly from don't forget that all our classes in that had big brothers. And the big brothers used to sort of say to us, because they'd seen all of these stuff, and we sort of got a rites of passage through them. So we were far too young, but maybe they weren't 18. Maybe they were like 16 or something. So they would sort of tell us about these movies or even get them for us. So it was a great infrastructure for us to become sick and depraved, wasn't it? Annie Martin says there is new Hellraiser. It's kind of a remake that Clive Barker has been involved in. I think it'd be worth a look. I do think that I struggle with Hellraiser these days. Like I say, I haven't watched the one since 3. I didn't really like 3, but maybe one of them ones if I bump into on streaming somewhere, I might watch it. But apart from that, I don't think I'd go up my way to watch it, if I'm honest. It's the same like Chucky. I'm not really that much of a fan of Chucky things. I've seen a couple of them, they're all right, but I'm not a fan of really wanting to go back to them and visit them. I think it's something that I don't really know that I could go back into the Hellraiser thing. Chris Soto says, hiya Chris, you all right? Godzilla is an awesome set. Yes, it's by far one of the best things you'll ever see in your life. It's so, I would love to find somewhere to show that off. It's basically back in its box in the cupboard. Every now and again it will get, in fact I might go and look at it today after speaking about it. But yes, it's a great set. Mainly for what they could do, put all those movies back into circulation in one set. Wow. They did say they were going to make a smaller version of it, but it never happened. Bad Lieutenant, most I paid for a DVD was 40 quid for a copy of Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park. So bad. It's bad. Yeah, the Phantom of the Park. I remember getting that on VHS, and it was horrendous. I got it, actually, to be honest, this is mad. I got it from that shop where we're talking about in Whitley Bay, that bloke. I got it from his shop. And I thought, oh, get in, I can't wait to watch this. I got my son, and my son was kind of into Kiss at the time. I don't know why. And he says, that we watched it and we were so disappointed with that movie. I mean, he didn't understand about a movie that was, I said, oh, it's so bad, it's good. When I was watching it, I was trying to get him to, like, he was nearly crying when he saw it. He said, this is awful. And I said, yeah, I think it is. It's just, yeah, it is one of those things, isn't it? So, Chickster, how are your movies listed in your A4 hardback book alphabetically, presumably? Do you include full details of the release, etc.? Well, what I did was with these books was I would buy it. It would be blank. It used to cost £6, I remember, and I used to sit there for hours and transcribe the old book into the new book. And sometimes what I would do is I would maybe sometimes tip X a bit out. I hated doing that, and I hated if I got like a section of A 1 to 10 and B 1 to 10, C 1 to 10. They would be then they would go sort of like I'd make a mess. Say if I made a mess on page 3, used to like cripple us. I used to think, oh, I can't believe I made a mess on here. But unfortunately, this one, this was like an old one, so I've ripped out the front pages which had the way it was thinged into it. But if I can show you the way it was kind of what my tapes were. A1 tape was what it was, and then B1. So if I can find, I think I've got, and this is just me by this book, because this book became me sort of scrapbook. I mean, this is me just sort of writing down the movies that I had. And there's some crazy movies in here, like Being Different. Does anyone remember Being Different? Wow. Scream Time. That was a great movie. Shaft in Africa, widescreen. There's a few things here. I'm putting widescreen down. Dr. Zhivago widescreen. But I do that. But this is like a really, excuse the writing on that one. That was how it was all sort of written down. So in this one here, you had X1 had Exorcist on and The Evil Dead. Also had Frankenstein, whatever Frankenstein that was. And then X2 had Zombie Flesh Eaters, widescreen, Death Trap, X3, I Spit in Your Grave with Mother's Day, and Son of Frankenstein. So I reckon they must have been the black and white ones. The Nutty Professor was on with Cannibal Ferox. Wow. So this is like the sort of like the thing that's the sort of scrapbook of that. Unfortunately, I have got the original, well, the book that I've done after this, but I can't find it anywhere. And that's the neat book. But I'll go through these ones. But no, it was more like done in what my tapes were, and the ones when I've wrote down what movies I've got, they're not really in alphabetical order. They're just like sort of ones I've got. Because if I did alphabetical, when I got another one with A, I couldn't write it down anywhere, which would do me head in. So Who's Harry Crumb? Wow, there's some real odd ones in here. That ones Shirley Valentine. I did like it once, but I can't believe that I had that. Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting that book. I've written some stuff out about that book. It's just time consuming to get it all together. So Danny Duke says that is okay with me. I think that would be about the doing a dedicated thing with that. You know, the what's it called? the video to that thing, yeah, that'd be great. I would love to do that, and I'll keep you informed about what's happening with that. But like I say, once again, that's amazing, Danny, and thanks once again for that. That's exceptional of you to do that. So Red Room Antics says, will you be getting the Fatal Attraction 4K? I've seen it. It was all right. We enjoyed it back in the day, but I don't really think that I need to look at it again. It's one of those movies. It's of its time. I appreciate it. I do think it's a good movie, but it's not something that's. It was huge back in the day. Everybody wanted to see that movie. There was a lot of buzz going on about it, and but I don't think it's something I need to revisit. If I did, I wouldn't need to revisit on the 4K. I'd probably just watch on the stream and catch up somewhere. Because some movies are like that for me. They were great back in the day, but they don't. More cult movies come with us. It's the stuff that's like mainstream. Doesn't seem to be the stuff I would go back to. I don't see us buying a lot of like mainstream movies. I do tend to go for more of the old sort of like great classics of exploitation or just horror stuff. But yeah, it's a great movie, but it's not one I think I'll be revisiting, and I wouldn't be getting the 4K. Dr. Impossible says, funny how this announcement came after Wolfgang Petersen's death about Neverending Story. Time to remake Metropolis by Fritz Lang, or everybody's favourite Jaws with a CGI shark. I get that one. Yeah, it's maybe that Wolfgang Petersen was thinking either he didn't want it done, or he's not into that type of thing. That what's it called? Where's me? There it is. I didn't lose him at the went up a bit. Maybe he was against the remake. Who knows? But maybe the cashing in and the fact that the poor fella's passed away. I don't know, but. Yeah, Metropolis by Fritz Lang. You know what this is about Metropolis? 1928. Groundbreaking. It's an exceptional film. It looks spectacular. It's one of the movies that you can get. Remember when I watched it the last time, I couldn't believe how good the story was. I don't think I ever took any notice of the story, but the story's got a lot more to it than I originally thought it was, which is quite nuts to me to think that. But Jaws, oh yeah, Jaws was such a bad movie. I can't believe that they put that out and it was a hit. It was one of those ones where everyone at the cinema goes, nah, that was absolutely rubbish. Yeah, CGI shark. Well, they're talking about it, aren't they? They're talking about releasing, remaking Jaws. They can't do it for the simple reason is that the cast in Jaws and the direction of the movie is untouchable for me. Well, they may remake Jaws, but it would always be inferior. So why would you even want to start off with that? Imagine starting off with a movie and thinking, hey, we're going to do this, but everyone's going to hate it. You just wouldn't, would you? DVD and Film Bloke, hi. Hiya, DVD and Film Bloke, you all right? Red Room Antics, camera and quality and audio quality is great on the stream. Oh, thanks very much. I've got my microphone plugged in, and it's great to hear that. Because sometimes it can be a bit low, a bit too high. I like my microphone, but that's great to hear. And just because I'm sitting, what's it called, the Wi-Fi things in the other room. So sometimes when you're sitting here, you haven't got that sort. You should have the distance on it. I mean, phone works all right, but it's great to hear that though. Thanks for that, Red Room Antics. DVD and Film Blow, I agree, but I guess it really depends on the host and how comfortable they are hosting it on their own. Yeah, I would never say to anybody who was uncomfortable sit in front of a camera. I mean, when I first started, if I go back to when I first started YouTube and someone said to me, you'd be doing a solo live stream for a couple hours, there's no way on earth I would have said that can't happen. That's physically impossible. But now here I am now, 2 and a bit years later, and it's all right. It's like a piece of cake, actually. But it's not a piece of cake. It's good because I'm talking to people that I want, like subscribers. I want to talk to people and I want to just interact. So it's great. It's a great thing. And I'm just saying, if anybody who's in the position to do a solo live stream and they're wondering about it, don't worry, because it's a great opportunity to do that sort of just one-to-one with somebody and just chew the fat and just have a bit chat and get some great comments here and answering anything that you want to, that anybody is interested in, maybe. And I've enjoyed everything on today, I must admit. But I do think that if you're not, never put yourself into a place that you're not comfortable with, because that could lead to a really big problem for yourself. It could turn you against something if you don't have a good experience. But I can say from my point of view, I think it's a great thing to do. DVD and film book. Yeah, the other day I got Silent Night, Deadly Night, Silent Night, Dead Night 1 and 2. They were on sale, and the first Silent Night, Deadly Night was on Arrow. It was one of their first titles. Yes, I remember it was on DVD, wasn't it? I was going to pick that up actually. I never did. And Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 is one film. You've got to see it. It is extremely bad, but it's just amazing. In fact, it's definitely getting watched this Christmas, that's for sure. The first one's pretty good. But it's like nearly serious. The second one is it's unbelievable. And I'm sure that the DVD and film book would say the same thing, that it's just about as nuts as you can get, which is something I really enjoy. Cy Robson says, have you ever seen Sorcerer? It's directed by William Friedkin and the music by Tangerine Dream. It's called the unluckiest movie of all time. It was released in the same day as Star Wars in 1977. Well, talk about burying your movie in the mud there. Yes, I haven't. I know of it. I know the cover. It's got that van or that lorry nearly going over a cliff. It's appealed to us, but I haven't seen it. And well, put it this way: if anything was released around about the same time as Star Wars, you can more or less forget it, couldn't you? Star Wars just literally was the whole universe was in Star Wars mode at that particular time. A little bit a bit before and a lot after it. But yeah, talk about unlucky. Imagine that when you'd realised what you'd done. DVD and film bloke, yeah, if only all the companies would work together. I do agree. I think there's a lot to be. I think with 88 and Vinegar Syndrome working together, they're really benefiting from it. And I'm only guessing about this, but I do think Arrow are a little bit reluctant to do that with other companies, not with people who are like, how would I put it? You know, the people who own stuff, you know, like the Hut Corporation, all that type of thing, or Amazon, all that type of. These other companies would be great to work with them, but I don't think they want to do that. That's the impression I get anyway. Could be wrong. 4K Michelin star movies. Hi, John. Hi, 4K Michelin star movies. You all right? We've been chatting quite a bit, and he's starting to make videos. And it's about, you know, it's great to see up and coming channels getting the videos out. I think it's great that and there's a great thing that having its platform to be on to do this, because it's so rewarding. The things you can get off this experience is great, and I hope that everybody who sets out to make a channel feels that way, and they do have a great experience, because it's out there if you want it. That's what I'll put across. Oh, here comes the clouds. Our lieutenants to DVD and film brought, there was a limited edition box set of a few years ago which had both versions of the film in it and the second one. That might be what's it called? Silent Night, Deadly Night. Popcorn Horror Ash. Hey John, just on lunch at work. Hope the stream has been going well. But yes, it's been going very well. It's been really great. Actually, it's been great to do this. What I call it's kind of like one-on-one with the people in the chats. It's one of the ones where you're going to be a little bit more like, not laid back, but you know what I mean. It's a bit like more casual stream. I should have called it, shouldn't I? Just that you can just chill out and just have a good chat with somebody for a couple hours and get some great comments on here. And yeah, so yeah, it's done really well actually. I don't say better than I thought it'd be, because I don't know how I thought it'd be, because going back to a year ago, if I'm honest, when I did it about a year ago, I was pretty nervous on them. I remember on the second live stream, I think it was, I didn't put the chat on, I didn't even know it was there. Well, I did know it was there, but I didn't actually click on it, and I didn't think anyone was talking to us for the. Although people were watching, I couldn't see the stream what it said about it until after I turned it off. I might even put that stream back on sometime. I may just put it on as a video, and you can watch it and just watch me saying, "Is anybody going to comment?" Tumbleweeds fly by. DVD and film blow at Bad Lieutenant. I got the standalone ones, and I'm losing. All I'm losing is the book, which I doubt I will actually read. Yeah, I love that set for Silent Night, Deadly Night, but you can buy them singly, which is good. That something doesn't just come out and you can't get it again, which I don't think should happen. DVD and film blog. Yeah, a lot of conservatives are annoyed that the Pinhead is now a woman, but Pinhead was woman in the novel. So checkmate. Yeah, there's a lot of talk about should a woman be a man be a woman, and all that. And sometimes it gets in the way of the thing itself. Why should it just not mention it? I don't know. It just seems to be a bit too much talked about. You know, some character was a woman and is now a man, or the vice versa. Seems to come all the people are talking about that particular subject, which doesn't really make much sense to me. Dr. Possible, Warner Brothers are one of the hardest to license from. The BFI did, so did the Criterion, but I would imagine you would have to prove your salt before Warner's dole out a license. Indicator once again have. Yeah, I think that there is some companies like Toho, for instance, from that have the Godzilla ones. They are just so ridiculously strict with their movies. They don't let anybody go near them. That's why I can't believe Criterion had the shoehorn with that one. That was nuts, that. But some companies are like that. They just don't want to be involved with anybody else. I mean, I suppose they're protecting their intellectual, property, but still as well, you've got to get you've got to start putting some stuff out, because this is the market where people want these older movies. But if you've got them and you won't release them, people get annoyed with you, really. Dr. Impossible says license with Warner, strange. DVD and film bloke, Dr. Impossible of Counterpunch. I guess the premium collection sort of compensates for it. Yes, the premium collection is quite a good one, because it's a one that you can get the Warner titles out here without Warner. Maybe Warner are all right with HMV licensing their stuff out. So that works out quite well, I've got to say. Bad Lieutenant at DVD, the film Bad Lieutenant at DVD and the film blog. The second one made an appearance in the Bad News Bible, and the Bad Acting compilations. Yes, this is Silent Night, Deadly Night 2. It is absolutely dreadful, but in a good way. It's one of those movies where you've just got to see it to believe it. The first 20 minutes is the recap completely of the first movie. But once you get past that, you get into the kind of meat and bones of this movie, where this bloke with his eyebrows does all the acting. You've never seen anything like it. But when you look on the making of it, it did say that the director, he only got enough film, stock to shoot an hour, and you knew he couldn't release an hour of it. You couldn't afford to buy any more, so he had to just get 20 minutes of the other stuff from the first movie, put it in the other one to make it up to the 80 minutes length running time. Wow. And he said he's embarrassed to have done it, but he had to, because there's no other way to make the film. So I like that, though, that somebody's honest about the fact that I've made a trashy movie, but this is why. Paul Conway says, hi there, John. Do you think New York Ripper will pass uncut next in the UK? Well, if I'm honest, the way things are going, possibly it could. It could possibly, or with slight cuts. It's an interesting one, because it's never been put up here at all to get put here when it has actually on Shameless. But to go for the full whole hog, which is obviously what everybody wants, I'm not too sure. I think if that one gets out, that there could be a lot more of those ones trying to come out, maybe not as good. The fact is that House Near the Edge of the Park's getting released uncut is nuts as well. That's one that really I thought that's never going to come out, and then of course then it did. But I think that I think there's a good chance that it could, Paul. I really do. Strangely enough, I can't believe I'm even saying that, but I think I would be 80-20 that it will come out. It's be interesting to watch. Be very interesting to see what happens there. So Balaten says if they passed Ebola syndrome uncut, then I can't see why not. Yeah, that's pretty intense as well. I think that the thing about New York Ripper and well, House at the Edge of the Park is all this violence to women. I know that Ebola syndrome is not exactly nice to women, but I think that the BBFC have got a big thing about that. They always have done and always will do. But that one, but I've seen other ones that I think are worse than New York Ripper, but maybe it's just got that reputation. Yeah, but interesting, very interesting that. DVD and Film Bloke says Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 is really funny. The 101 Films Blu-ray was the first time it was legally released in UK because it was banned for some time. The company refused to cut it. That was the first movie. Yeah, it was really frowned upon. Dr. Possible says, I was thinking about the extras on the Warner titles indicate it would have done a great job on some in the back catalogue titles from 1940s to 1990s. HMV just port over the same extras from Warner Archive titles. Yeah, they do really. It's just like an easy way for you to get the Warner Archive titles over here as opposed to getting them from over there. I do agree with that. DVD and Film Bloke, yeah. Spreadsheets are a blessing when it comes to logging titles, but making space for them in the collection is a pain in the backside, especially if they're near the start of the alphabet. Yeah, I know. That's the best thing about me shelves. They are alphabetical, but there's sort of certain sections where you've got 88 with a gap. So the 88's got room to breathe. Same with Arrow. Same with BFI. They've all got room to sort of breathe. And I only have to move them along one. I find them shelves the easiest I've had to maneuver. The other ones were really awkward and hard to get round. You had to really just but you used to do. You hadn't used to have like a load them. You used to do them and it used to wait until there was a load, so you spent a day doing them, as opposed to you can just throw them in very easy. I was doing it, like I say, I've done a few this morning to get them where they should be. I think I put all the 4Ks that I bought recently. I put them where they should be. So Dr. Impossible says Paramount are buggers for licensing back catalogue titles for the UK market. It's Australia all the way with imprint and Paramount. So the UK. Yeah, I know it's this imprint's a great title, a great play company, but it's really hard to get the stuff over here. Really hard. I just think that everybody should not be so separatist to their own place, and they shouldn't like keep the things in house as opposed to say, oh, we can have this, but you can't. That's sometimes I get that impression with some place. Dean Humphreys says, "Hi John, looking at getting Dead and Buried on DVD, but could you tell me which DVD version is the best out the Anchor Bay or Blow Underground, and what is the difference?" If I'm honest, well, the Blue Underground is the best. I think the Blue Underground is the best because it's actually a new one, a newer release. I think the Anchor Bay one's really good. Don't get us wrong, but it was out way back when. And don't forget, Anchor Bay were taken over by Blue Underground. Anchor Bay were Blue Underground back in the day, so they've got that. So it's a funny one. It's I would say, to be honest, the Blue Underground's the best, but the Anchor Bay is pretty good. The Anchor Bay will be a lot cheaper, I would imagine. The Blue Underground will be more expensive, I believe. And I'm just going to have to nip the toilet if you don't mind. I'll take my microphone out here. I'll just nip there. I'll be back in 2 seconds. And then I'll probably spend about 15 minutes like wrapping the stream off, if that's okay. So excuse me. You'll have to talk amongst yourselves for a moment. Imagine if anybody came in now. Think what's going on there. Right. Here we go. What if I can do it? Look at that, I can do my finger, man. Sin Jin. Hey John, this is unexpected. Yeah, it was just something I thought about. I thought about last week, but I couldn't do it, so I thought I'll do it this week, and I've enjoyed it. I really have. DVD and film bloke. Yeah, the complete version of Metropolis is the way to go, which restores nearly all of the footage cut from a 16mm print. Yeah, I know they still reckon there's a good half hour that's missing from it, but they reckon that the one now is the best one that you've got at this point. DVD and film bloke says also the thing with Jaws is the prop shark kept malfunctioning, so pretty much less is more. CGI would ruin it because they would have more shark footage. Yes, I agree with that, because I was thinking that when I watched it at the cinema, which was absolutely what I've experienced that was. I just think that the fact that you didn't see this shark for a large part of the movie was one of the best things ever. And I think that I know that they had to do that because the shark just didn't work. But I think it worked in their way much better than they probably expected it to. And they probably think, oh God, we can't get this thing to work. But look how it turned out. Not impossible. Just imagine, John. It's just like taunting yourself, just like Pauline Collins and Shirley Valentine. Though it was a wall, not a screen. Hello, wall. I know. I do think that it's odd. It's odd to do, from not doing anything like this, if you think about it. It's odd to do this thing in general. If you're just somebody who sits, and don't forget, I'm not looking at you, I'm looking at myself, which is a thing that's really awkward to do when you start off doing it. There's an orb, or should I say dust. This process when you actually taunt yourself is a bit odd, and but you get used to it, and you get used to the fact that you're doing it, and it's the strangest bit about it is you actually just don't need yourself. So if you can get used to the fact of taunting yourself, I'm looking at my eyes talking to me. It's weird, but it's good. It's good, and I'm sure that anybody who wants to do it will have a good time with it. DVD and film bloke. Steven Spielberg was wise not to get George Lucasify George. Yes, 100%. Just left it well alone. Maybe a few tweaks to the soundtrack. That's it. Didn't need to do anything to it. I think a lot of these directors think they need to do something to a movie. They don't. It is when it was come out. They should say that this was when it came out. And if we do a sequel, or we do something now, we'll do it better. But leave the original alone. The Movie Cheer podcast, AP. Hey John, just catching the live stream now. Hope you're doing okay. But I'm doing great, and as you know, that I'm going to be on AP's channel on a live stream on Saturday night, and I'm not going to tell you too much about what we're going to talk about the thing, obviously, but obviously I've been talking to AP about this, but it's going to be good. Actually, it's going to be the things we're going to talk about. The movies we're going to talk about are brilliant. So that's all I'm going to say about that. But yes, on AP's channel, the Movie Cheer podcast, on Saturday night, if you want to come across to that, you will, if this video ends, I'll put a link to it on this video if I can do that, and they will, we'll have a chat about that. Well, I'll see you on there if you can make it, if that makes sense. Red Rune Antics, I love to see Arrow releases. Arrow released a 4K set of Ready or Not. Seems right up their alley. Ready or Not. I'm not too sure what that is. I've heard of it, but I'm not too sure what the actual movie is. There's that many movies out there. Juha Tanskanen. Hi, John. Thanks for the good work you are doing and for supporting the physical media and your comments of various movies. No problem, Juha. I hope that the Unknown Soldier movies were good. Well, the Unknown Soldier movies, I haven't watched them yet. and I am going to watch the movie first before I watch the TV series. I think that the Debs might be probably more interested in the TV series, if I'm honest, because she's into TV series that I like that type of thing. But the Unknown Soldier movie, I'm definitely, I don't keep saying this, I'm definitely going to watch it. I've got a section where the movies that I need to get to, and that's in there. And it will be watched, definitely. And I'm very interested to see about it because it's, Yuha was saying it's from his country. It's a story about the war that was, the Second World War, that was very pertinent to his country. And it's like a huge thing that was involved with his country. So I'm very interested to watch that. So it will be watched soon. I know I keep saying that, but it definitely will be. And but I think the Debs may be interested more in the well, I will watch it and I will see if she likes that. We do like watching war movies. She's more interested in sort of action war, if that's the case. But yes, definitely be watching that soon. But thanks for sending that to me as well, Yuha, back in the day, actually. 4K Michelin star movies. Yep, current in editing hell. But I will have some content soon. Yeah, I know. I mean, it's funny when you start off, you always think that you don't think it's easy, but when you try it, it's not as easy. Sometimes it's not as easy as it looks. Sometimes you can say, "Oh, it must be easy to sit in front of the camera, say that, show that, talk about this, remember that stuff. Remember's hard." And if you sit there with the camera on you and you go right, and you just go blank, and when you're trying to be, make sure that you're not going, that person, this one, I can't remember this, I can't remember that. You try to not avoid all that, but the more you try to do that, the more you do it. So the best thing about this thing is you can edit this stuff. You can get rid of the stuff where you're going or R or coughing or sneezing or anything. Or pigeons, not pigeons, seagulls screaming, which they're not doing at the minute. Saying that, they'll probably start doing that now. So yeah, but it's a lot. I mean, editing hell is somewhere we've all been trying to get some. There's always some kind of part of a program that just doesn't work properly, or it doesn't allow you to do something. I think the one I've got on my one at the moment is I want to put like pictures that I've took pictures, like when I went to Edinburgh. I wanted to show the pictures of what I've been doing there, but it doesn't let you put a picture over the video. It does do a video over a video, but not a picture over video, which is annoying. So I kind of do that, but it took us a long time. It wasn't as if I just thought, "Oh, that can't happen." It took me about a day to find out that wasn't the case, because it just was doing something weird with the video until I found out that anyway. So editing hell, we've all been there. Dr. Possible says, "I can't see a remake of Jaws while Spielberg is alive. When he's gone, watch out." Yeah, that could be a thing. You're right there. Bad Lieutenant, a long time ago in an ocean far, far away. DVD and Film Bloke, I don't hate remakes. It's just most of them add nothing to the original, and the originals are often perfect as they are. Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. If a movie's perfect, don't go near it. That's your best thing, because you will always make something inferior. There's no way I've ever heard of a movie that's like 10 times better than a great original. It just doesn't happen. So they just want to say, let's forget it. But they don't, do they? Tanskanen says, "I just got that Eureka 4K Jackie Chan box set, recommended. Better quality when compared to Jackie Blu-ray compilation movie set." Yeah, I think that would be the Police Story 1, 2, and 3. I've heard good things about it. I do know that Police Story 1, the 4K remastered Blu-ray, to me looks really good, dead sharp. So if it looks anything like that, I know that the Police Academy 2 didn't look that good. Police Academy, Police Story 2 didn't look that good on the set. But if they can do that with the 3 movies, that would be a definite. I will get that one someday down the line. DVD and Film Books, I was thinking maybe a Soylent Green remake could work, because I felt that the original was good. It could have been better. Maybe expand on the world and not focus on the mystery. Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen Soylent Green. But yeah, there'd be some movies like that where it could take like a premise of it and then move on to the future and see how it could be like now, like Blue Sunshine, for instance, that type of thing. We could maybe pick someone up from the past and use our knowledge of today, spin on it, and see how we go with that one. Yeah, but it's one of those ones where I saw it that long ago that I just can't really remember that much about it. Dr. Impossible says, sorry, Warner have no license with indicator. That's my phone with a text. Cisco says, I've heard they're remaking Escape from New York. That's a big no-no from me, and me too as well, Cisco. I have heard that as well, and I just think, wow, why? It was perfect. It's perfection. It looks perfect. The music, the sound, the look. Obviously, for me, the nostalgia factor. Why? Just make a one that's like a spiritual remake, a bit like Blade Runner 2049. It's kind of like that, but it's not a remake, but it's in the same universe. Go for it. Just don't. They could even maybe have one that was happening in that the Manhattan that was kind of walled off. Maybe have something to do with that. Just don't remake that one again. Or if they're going to do that, this sounds a bit weird. Why don't they do a kind of TV series about that kind of that thing? It might work as a TV series, possibly, but they'll have to change quite a few things, I think. DVD and Film Bloke, 20th Century Fox before Disney came along, and Universal are one of the few companies who are happy to hand out licenses. Yes, that's true. Disney, once they get their hands on it, it seems to have like really altered things, unfortunately, which is it's a shame, because at the end of the day, all I want is just to see our favorite films. It's not as if I want to. It's like somebody saying, I bought The Beyond, and it's upstairs on my shelves, and none of yous are saying it. That's the way I get the impression from them. It's as if they're holding something to ransom, saying, oh, you want to watch The Beyond, do you? Well, you're not getting it off us, even though we've got it. Well, to be honest, it would be Inferno. That's the one that they've got. So yeah, I'm just thinking that I don't know. It's just something that's. I just think that they should not. I have to go back. Oh, that lost me a thing there. Because I looked at a message down there, and I'll go to that message that I was looking at. Yes, Disney don't like handing out stuff. That's the kind of like a big wigs, and they just don't want to do that. So the thing I was looking at was that Bad Lieutenant says, who thought that John was going to do a naked gun moment with a microphone? Yes, can you imagine that? oh, when he's in there. Yeah, that was so funny. Actually, I had the naked gun. That sounds a bit bad. I had the naked gun in my hands the other day in CX for £5. I was so nearly tempted. I thought, you know what it is? I'll have to get the 3 of them, although I've got one DVD. I thought I'm going to wait. I'm going to get some kind of box set with them, because I love them films. And the pictures of seeing Naked Gun was one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life, because they were quite fresh at the time. I think I saw the second one as well. Bad Lieutenant, I would like to see a decent remake of Brave New York. Have an excellent US TV film version of it, but it could do with a revamp. Yeah, I think there's a few films like that from that ilk that could come out and be better for it, that were kind of there, but they didn't really make it. Yeah. Danny Jukes, I use an app and a PC program to log my films. I have heard of people doing that, which I would like. Is that a text? Yeah, he died there. EE, thanks for upgrading your phone. Yeah. Well, at least I didn't. I tell you what, when they tell you on a phone, hey, you can have this great deal. You've got your pay X for your phone. What about this deal? And it's about £50 more, and you go, no, I don't think so. And I say, oh, well, okay then. What about £10 less? Yes, I'll have that one. As if. Anyway. DVD and Film Bloke says, where am I? Went what way ahead? DVD and Film Bloke, since Disney is buying everything, I'm surprised the government haven't stepped in, because I'm sure there was break monopoly laws. Actually, that's a good point. I thought there's, the monopolies and mergers laws that used to be in a few years ago, which stopped anybody from doing that. Namely, who was it again? Who was trying to do everything with Sky? What was his name? Max somebody, or was the Australian fella? And I think he went in the brink because he fell off his boat. I think Murdoch. Was that him? No. anyway, one of them, Maxwell, one of them lot were trying to do nefarious activities with things like that, and they got stopped. So yeah, I think that Disney seem to be buying in everything these days. Everything you look at, some it's owned by Disney. Wow. So I'm going to start going through the comments here. There's still got quite a few comments, but I'm trying to get through a few to sort of finish off the stream. But I want to make sure I get through everyone's comments or acknowledge them. But sometimes if you're talking to each other, I'll skip a few. Chickster777 is The Abyss is due to get a new physical media release at some point. When is anyone's guess? Oh no, it's honestly, it's just one of those things where you think. That's the thing with Cameron as well, getting back to that thing where it's as if he's got all this stuff and he's refusing to put it out, as if to kind of say, you're not getting it. I've just noticed there, if you want, there's a seat there. You can see it. That's the bottom of the seat. Now, what happened was, very brief story here, is when we got the flooring delivered, put down in June 2020, which was a nightmare, SCS, don't go near them. These were tip-top condition. I had to put them outside 2 or 3 times for this bloke to come and do this thing. He kept coming, so he couldn't do it. So anyways, out in the elements, we're covered over with tarpaulin. But ever since then, when we brought them back in, they've just went apart. We're going to have to get new ones. So don't think that we've got things that are just dropping to bits. We've got to thank, we should have went on SES and says, yeah, get us some new seats. So I've just noticed that. But if the Debs was watching this, which it won't be, and she saw that, she'd be saying, my God, how can you do that? How can you have that stuff on show? There you go. Balutan says Silent Green is a classic 70s sci-fi film, so there's many I'd like to see revamped. Logan's Run, yes. Demon Seed, that was all right, actually, Demon Seed. Sinjin says, I'm tuning in for that, John. I think that was about the AP stream. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. Always, I've had AP on a live stream with myself. He's a great kid. So I was really excited when he asked us to be on his stream. I think it was about a month ago, and he said, would he be on the stream at the end of this month? I said, yep, definitely. Paul Conway says, remakes are horrible. I refuse to watch them anymore. Well, I think they are actually, they are getting more horrible. I mean, some remakes were all right back in the day. They were remaking something like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, for instance. That was a good, worthwhile remake. But these days, they're just remaking everything. You just think, my God, what on earth did you do? Poltergeist, although I kind of half like the Poltergeist remake, it's awful compared to, if you compare it to the old one, it isn't a comparison. Paul Conway says, do you think we'll be getting Last House on the Beach on Blu-ray? I'm surprised there isn't still a UK release. I'm not really sure about that one. I've heard about that one, actually. Last House on the Beach. Cheekster says, John, how many movies do you watch on average per week or month? Not as many as I want to. I would like to watch a lot more than I do. I think that, unfortunately, like I say, work gets in the way, which is, well, life gets in the way to a certain extent. I do think that, I do try. I watched 2 movies yesterday. I watched Lost Boys and I fell asleep. Nothing to do with the movie, but I fell asleep for about 20 minutes and I had to go back and watch the other 20 minutes. And then I watched Friday the 13th. I fell asleep in that one, unfortunately, but I went back and watched, I watched the end of it today, actually. And I enjoyed them both. It's just you tend to drop asleep. But also what I try not to do is I try to don't watch them when I'm tired, but unfortunately I'm tired a lot of the time from coming in from work. If I don't do that, then I've lost a day of watching some movies when there's no one in the house like today. I will probably watch the end of last Friday the 13th, and then I will watch The Descent. I'll try to watch The Descent if I've got enough time. That's the next one on my list. But yeah, so I would say on average, it's probably, unfortunately, it's only about between 2 to 5. That's about it. I would like to watch more. I used to watch a lot more, but it's just, you just can't, it's just the way it is. And yeah. Oh, work's got a lot to answer for, hasn't it? Dr. Impossible, Demon Seeds, creepy enough without a remake. Logan's Run is still pretty good. Jerry Goldsmith's score, the Logan, was flipping great. Yeah, it was actually. I remember that one. Richard Vowson, hi John, tuning in on my lunch break from work. Well, I hope you're having a good lunch break, and I hope I don't put you off your dinner. But thanks very much, Richard. I do appreciate that. Bad Lieutenant, the only remake I thought matched the original was Gone in 60 Seconds, which I thought was really good. I love the first Gone in 60 Seconds, although the film to do with Gone in 60 Seconds is pretty awful. But when they start crashing them cars for the last 40 minutes, oh, it's untouchable. Unbelievable. Sinjin, I thought Demon Seed was a very good movie. I haven't seen it for a long time, but I do know about it. Is that available on HMV Premium, I think, possibly? Bad Lieutenant, Cisco, oh hell no. Escape from LA, maybe. Oh yeah, Escape from LA. What on earth was that? I just don't know what to think about with that one. Jigsaw says, thanks very much for this live stream, John. You're always easy to listen to. Well, I hope so. imagine if I wasn't. If you can make this a monthly series, it would be great. Well, to be honest, I would love, there's loads of things I would love to do. I would love to get a regular night to stream on. I can't do that because of work. We work as just like, and Deborah's work, we're all shifts. So we're never going to be able to be on the same day. I never get the same days off. Unfortunately, but that's just the way it is. I would love to say I would definitely do one of these a month. I would definitely try to do one of these a month because I'm really enjoying it. So fingers crossed, I will try to do one a month. I would like to do some things where you're doing out and abouts, which is great. But unfortunately, my phone's been clogged up with gear, so I need now to know that I can, with my new phone, I could probably get some out and abouts. So that's good. There's a lot of things I want to do. It's finding the time, and it's finding the fact of like sometimes you've got to get a selfie stick, walk around the selfie stick, which I don't like doing. I don't like to be the center of attention when I'm out and about. So these things. But I am definitely going to start to do some more stuff like that. I'll tell you what I want to do is that I want to do a lot more on the end of videos to do with music. I've got this song that I'm working on at the minute called That's Plenty. It's got no lyrics at all, but you know, that's what the song's called, That's Plenty. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a video and record a video on how the song sounds. So really, if you do play the guitar, anybody can play a Mondo Chelovek song. That's me, way I'm going to put it across. It's so easy to play because if I can play it, anybody can play it. I choose the easiest chords available, but I try to mix them up a little bit, as you can see on this video. So I'm going to play the song That's Plenty. I'm going to play the verse and the chorus, but I'm going to tell you how I changed the verse to make it, in my ears, sound better. I altered a few chords, which will make it sound a bit more, what's it called when you dissonant, when you're trying to make dissonant chords, which sound a bit good, but how do they work together? That's what I try to do with my guitar overlays, but that'll be down the road. I think that's the music thing I like to stick on the end of videos, and hopefully you can get across to them and just look at them and say, if you want to. They don't have to. You know, when the video stops, you don't have to watch the music stuff, but they'll probably be stuck on the end of a few videos. You'll see the progression of That's Plenty from just being literally written to how it progresses, and hopefully I can get it in the studio when I get a light in there, and you can get a view of like how this sounds on the process of putting the drums in it, put the bass guitar in it, think of a bass line that goes onto it, and then what else I was going to say was I'm going to try and get a few. There's loads of people that can sing on YouTube. If I could get the song to somebody who could sing, that could sing over the top of this, I think maybe even come to the studio and sing in the studio. There's a microphone there. Who knows? This is down the line. So this is all things I've got in the plan. I've got loads of things planned. It's just finding the time. But yes, a monthly stream on this one would be no problem for me. If I could do it, I would love to do it at this time of day. I know it's a bit of a strange time for some people, but maybe you could get on catch up as well. But it's been nice shooting the breeze with everybody, I've got to say. So I'm coming towards the end of the comments, so I'm going to go down and get the end of these comments, and I'll say hasta la bye-bye, baby. And I'm going to go back and watch, is that another text? I'm going to go back and watch the end of Friday the 13th, have me dinner, because my stomach's rumbling. I'm going to meet the Debs tonight because she's at work, and I'm going to meet her and we're going to go off and do some shopping and have our tea somewhere. Don't know where that is yet. So there you go. So if you ever see us sitting in some seedy cafe somewhere with the Debs, say hello. I've never been stopped yet when I'm having something to eat, but you know, I don't know. So Yuha Tanskanen says John Cameron movies Titanic and The Abyss are coming on 4K, but when and I hope that can, but when, and I hope they can leave DNR level very low, yes, and not making people look like wax figures, and Judder will be reduced. Yes, I totally agree with that. I want them to be as short as possible. If they don't make it short as possible, people don't buy them. As simple as that. And I'm not going to buy them. Like Terminator 2, I'm not going to buy it because I know there's going to be a better one out there somewhere. And if not, the Blu-ray suffices perfectly well. So James Cameron's going to shoot himself in the foot if he thinks he's going to go down that route. Yeah, he's got to start putting this stuff out. It's ridiculous. Jigster, Robert Maxwell is a millionaire. You mentioned, that's right, him. I used to deliver the morning papers to his private house back in the 80s. Wow. I hope he gave you a tip for that. I bet he didn't. Yeah, just talking from an English point of view, the whole his sort of stranglehold that he had on a lot of things didn't sit well with in the UK. We found it to be very I don't know, like a sort of a mogul, a self-made mogul, which he didn't appeal to anybody, and Spitting Image took the mick out of him all the time. Bad Lieutenant, there's been 2 decent remakes of Body Snatchers. One is from the there's been 2 decent remakes of Body Snatchers. One is from the late 70s, and Abel Ferrara's from the early 90s. Yeah, I think I remember hearing about that. I can't remember anything about it, but yeah, it's a funny one, isn't it? That he would do that. Yes, that does come to mind slightly. Soundtrack Crusader. Hey, John. Hey, Soundtrack Crusader. You all right, mate? We're just coming to the end, sadly, but glad to see you joining in. Sinjin, how about Roadhouse being remade with Jake Gyllenhaal and Conor McGregor? Yes, you heard it right, Conor McGregor. I know. I just think, wow. I don't own Roadhouse. I don't think I will get it, but I've watched it. I did appreciate it. I thought it was a really good movie. But doing that, no. This is just not. This is just ridiculous. I like Jake Gyllenhaal. I think he's good. Conor McGregor is all right in a ring, kicking people to bits. That's about it. I don't think I need to have him strutting into a bar. And actually, it would be good if he strutted into the bar, you know, with his strut that he does with his over sort of like, look at me, carrying 2 suitcases into a bar and then getting a hiding. I think that'd be quite funny, actually. Bad Lieutenants, the original was fine, so why ruin it with a remake? Exactly. I just think that you shouldn't. There's just no need for it, is there? Sinjin, I agree. Connor flew out last week to start filming. Wow. And he also says, have a great day, John. Take care. Well, thanks for watching, Sinjin. I appreciate everybody who stopped by and has had a watch of this, and even on catch up. If you're watching on catch up, thanks very much for doing that. And if you're watching on catch up, if you want to leave a comment on this video on catch up, and just say, would you like to see this kind of regularly-ish as opposed to like just a one-off? Because if I'm honest, I've had a good time on here, and I think it's been great to get through the comments. It's been great to talk to everybody, even though the voice is starting to go a bit. And I just think it's been a good experience. And the next time will be, so what's it now? September. So October. Yeah. Maybe have a sort of Halloweeny one if you want. But get down in the comments and just see if you think that's something you would like to see in the future. I'm always anybody who wants to ask us to do anything, I'm always, willing to take any advice of anybody. If they say, oh, try this, try that, I'm not going to say, oh, I'm not doing that. That's great when somebody says they would like to see something. Bad Lieutenant, Mazel Tov on a fantastic webcast, John. Hope this is becoming a regular feature. Well, if I'm honest, Bad Lieutenant, I would like it to be a regular feature if you're all right with that. This is going to be probably the time of day when I would do this. I don't think I would do it in the afternoon, because this is my son bothers us any much. He just comes in there, goes and eats everything in the kitchen, and goes upstairs. when he's finished from work in the afternoons. So it's not as if it's going to get much of a, but sometimes if Deb is off, obviously we're out and about, especially in the mornings. So, but if there's nobody around, like there isn't out today, this is a perfect day. Probably a Wednesday is a perfect day for me to do this because my son goes out all day to his job till 8 o'clock at night. Oh, wow. Well, it keeps the bailiffs away. Turn the blue iris. Just on lunch, and I see that you are doing a live stream. Yes, it was the other one. The next thing I do will be, I would say, I'll have more time to say it's coming because it's just been a kind of very much just a spur of the moment thing that I was thinking about the other day. But the next month, hopefully, I can do one, and it will be widely publicized. I didn't know you could do this with a YouTube live stream to see it coming up, but I know you can now, so I'll start doing that. Bad Lieutenant, Abel Ferrara's version starred Jennifer Tilly and Forrest Whitaker, and is set on an airbase, I think. Wow. That's interesting, actually, now you come to say that. I think I might give that a go one day. David Ian Willenbrook says, bye. JD Seaton, hey mate, how many Shameless films do you own? I'm just getting into the label. Some really odd films I've never seen before. Washing machines are really an odd one. Yes, nothing wrong with the stream. Nothing wrong with the stream, right? Okay, so that's, yeah, so I'll go for that one. So we'll say provisionally this time, next month, I will try for another, excuse me, morning stream, shall we put it. I'll not say like morning with John, that just sounds a bit, like something to say on ITV, innit? So Shameless films, I do think that Shameless ones as, I don't know, I would say not all of them. I'd say between DVDs and Blu-rays, I might have about 15, maybe 15. I do like Shameless. I do know that they've got a lot that are cut, by the way, so that's not really one thing that I like, the avenue that I try to go down to. I try to get ones that aren't cut, obviously. I do know about that one with the killer washing machine. I think that's one I'm very interested in. I haven't seen that one, though. I just know that when somebody has a movie with a washing machine, and it's got to be something you've got to look at, isn't it? Wow. Euphoria Pictures, Keith, great stream, John. I have been working all morning and watching your stream, and this was the only chance I leave a message. So apologies for that. Hey, no problem, Keith. I'm glad that you've had a chance to watch it. It's funny, obviously, Keith as well, he's got his channel, and he's so Keith. I don't think Keith's ever done a solo stream before. I don't think he has. I think that Keith would be great to have a solo live stream, to everybody to have a personal chat with him, if that's what we can call it, and you just have your kind of one-to-one with it. And so I would urge Keith, if he's watching, just to have a shot. It's good because it's great because on this section I've been able to put to avoid like spam and bots. You just put it in that it's all your subscribers can watch your channel. You have an option for that, which should be on StreamYard, but it's not. And it means you can keep the strange people away. And by strange people, I mean probably robots, strange robots. It's a good title for a company, isn't it? Today released by Strange Robots. Yeah. Carl M79. Hi John. Hope you're well. I just finished work. Thanks, Carl. Thanks for checking the channel out. It's literally coming to an end now. But hopefully you can go and get it on catch up. I've had a great time here. I've enjoyed everybody coming across and having a good chat. And I will do this again next month. I'll make sure of it, and I'll give you as much heads up as I can. But also the live streams for Nige and me doing the video nasties is going to be definitely one next week. I think Monday or Tuesday. Not too sure which day, but you'll get a heads up on that. And then, so one of these again next month. That would be great. I'll just double check. I think I'll come to the bottom there. So just want to thank everybody once again for coming over here. It's been great. I've really enjoyed this, and I just want to thank Danny once again for this amazing thing that he did, for sending me over that amazing gift of money, £20, and I will be going and putting that to good use. And I would also make a dedicated video to that about what happened with that money. And I hope that I get something that's gonna so what's it called? I'm losing the words. I should have brought my dictionary with us. Is gonna be, oh hey, I get 2 minutes for 2 minutes. I get 2 hours 40 and I start going to pot to just show how grateful I was with it. And I hope it would be good for you to see what I've got. It would be, oh, I can't think of the word. Sorry about that, Danny. I think my brain's just turned to mush. That doesn't take much, you know. So anyway, so we've got Bad Lieutenant, Shameless have released some good films like the uncut director's version of Baba Yaga. I want to see that actually. I like the thought of that one. I haven't seen that one. I love the story of Baba Yaga. That should be remade, the story of that one. Cheekster says, hi Keith. Turn the Blue Iris says, cheers, Mono Chelovek movies. Cheers all. Danny Duke says, you're welcome. Bad Lieutenant, looking forward to the video nasties chat on Monday, hopefully. Yeah, Monday, Tuesday, sometime then. Be great. As it always is with Keith, with Nige. We had such a great time. I hope that comes across on the screen, which I'm sure it does. So anyway, I'm going to say to everybody, thanks everybody for watching. I appreciate you all coming here. And I'll see you next month on this one. But also, I'll probably see you a lot sooner than that. And don't forget to go to AP's channel, the Movie Cheer podcast, on Saturday if you want to chat or watch anything that's going to happen on there. It's going to be starting, I think, 7:30. But get across to his channel and check that out. So, thanks once again to everybody coming, and I'll see you next time. And take it easy. Thanks once again. Cheers, mate. Cheers.